What's on TV? The answer is a lot. There's never been more choice over what to put on the box with an abundance of great new shows, but you can miss them all if you don't know where to look. And that's where the Pilot TV podcast comes in, your essential guide to every show that matters. Each week we sift through the very best in prestige TV to help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what isn't. So join me, James Dyer, as well as venerable TV critics Boyd Hilton and Kay Ribeiro, and let us help take the stress out of your downtime. The Pilot TV podcast, because you can't watch everything.
Clyde One's Super Scoreboard podcast with Lookers Audi. The fully electric Q4 is now available on Motability. Discover it today.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard as the Scottish Premiership returns after the international break. Celtic lost against Rangers before the break. Can they bounce back at home to Hearts without the goalkeeper who's injured, Kasper Schmeichel? Elsewhere in the Premiership today, Aberdeen, Motherwell, St Mirren, Kilmarnock, Hibs, St Johnstone and Dundee, Rangers later. And one of the stories of the day is in the Championship as Ayr United, Scott Brown welcome Neil Lennon, Victor Wanyama and Dunfermline. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me you have Gordon Dalziel, Marvin Bartley, Hugh Keevins.
The day of atonement for Celtic after that defeat against Rangers. A 2-week international break does not erase the memory of an old firm loss. Not in this city. That defeat cancelled the title party that was planned for St Johnstone next weekend, and if points are dropped today against Hearts, that means they'll need to reschedule the rescheduled title party, which is planned for Celtic Park when Kilmarnock go there on the 12th of April, and that will not go down well with the fans, but it will excite the Rangers supporters at Dundee, because if Rangers reduce the points gap by winning there tonight, then some folks are going to start to get jumpy. And I went through all of that without mentioning you-know-who having his managerial debut for Dunfermline, playing against you-know-who, the manager of the home team, Ayr United. What are their names again, Marv?
I think it's Scott Brown and Neil Lennon, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the massive game there, definitely in the Championship. But looking at the Premiership, some huge ties, as you said there. Hugh, Celtic playing against Hearts. Aberdeen v Motherwell as well. I know Gordon's got a soft spot to them, and so have Gordon. We're interested to see how that one goes. I do think it's going to be a home win. I do think Aberdeen need a home win as well. And then we've got, the mighty Hibs playing as well.
I think you leave the studio now.
He will not be invited back in here, let me just say that. But I agree with the guys. I think when you look at that fixture list, a lot of important games. Points are so vital now for the top six, and obviously down the bottom there, St Johnstone trying to claw back Dundee and Kilmarnock into that relegation fight as well. And you're quite right to point out, sometimes we forget about it, the Championship, there's some good games there, and all eyes will be in Somerset Park.
The Championship story of the day, and it's not even Mark Wilson, eh? We're good to have Marvin Bartley in here on a Saturday afternoon, but strap yourselves in because it felt like a long international break in many ways, and this is it now, the business end of the season. We are foot to the floor until May to find out who wins things, who loses things, and everything in between. You can tweet all afternoon at Clyde SSB, and as always, we'll get your reaction once the games are done, round about 5 o'clock on the phone. So without further ado, let's go to Celtic Park to kick things off. Gabriel has the teams.
Yes, I do, Gordon. Brendan Rodgers says the pain of that recent Old Firm defeat lingers longer than usual due to the international break, but he put a stop to that yesterday. He had a meeting with his squad, told them to take their medicine and draw a line under it and be ready for the final push as they aim for a treble. 10 games to glory for the Hoops, and it starts today against Hearts. As you say, big team news here, both good and bad for Celtic. Let's start with the negatives. Number one, Kasper Schmeichel is missing as expected. His injured shoulder on international duty keeping him out. We don't know the severity of the injury just yet. He's gone for scans, but in the meantime, it's a first league start for Viljami Sinisalo. Brendan Rodgers says the 23-year-old Finland international is ready to step up, and keep in mind, Celtic fans, he could end up playing for the rest of the season if Schmeichel's shoulder injury is bad. And now the positives. Captain Callum McGregor returns to the side after missing out against Rangers with that calf problem. What a miss he was that day. He's in at the base of the midfield for Luke McCowan, who drops to the bench. And perhaps most interesting of all, centre-half Mike Nawrocki keeps his place despite Austin Trusty returning to the squad. The American is amongst the substitutes, whilst the Pole will play after being one of the few shining lights in the 3-2 defeat to Rangers. So Sinisalo and McGregor are the two changes since that Old Firm a fortnight ago. It will be Sinisalo in goal, of course, a defence of Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Mike Nawrocki and Jeffrey Schlupp. Callum McGregor, Arne Engels and Reo Hatate the midfield three, with Nicholas Kuhn, Dyson Maeda and Jota up top. The substitutes are Bain, Taylor, Trusty, Ida, Yang, McCowan, Ralston, and two long-term injuries, Paolo Bernardo and James Forrest, also on the substitutes bench. Well, Hearts come here on a really impressive run of form as well. They're back in the top six with just 3 games to go before the split, and that's exactly where they want to be. Any points today would be massive for them. Neil Critchley makes 2 changes since their 2-0 win over Ross County before the international break. Cammy Devlin and Harry Milne come in for Khartoum and Spittal, but it's a change of formation as well. Looks like it's going to be 5 at the back for the Jambos. So Craig Gordon in goal. Defence of Adam Forrester, Lewis Nielsen, Michael Steinwender, Harry Milne and James Penrice. Cammy Devlin and Benny Beningame will sit in front of them, with Lawrence Shankland playing as the number 10, James Wilson and Elton Kabungu up top. The substitutes: Clark, Halkett, Grant, Neuwenhoff, Spittal, Forrest, Danda, Khartoum and Musa. Kevin Clancy will be the referee, and the VAR, Greg Aitken.
The big story is probably one we knew about in advance, Hugh Keevins. Kasper Schmeichel is always there for Celtic until he's not. He's been injured in international duty. A big afternoon for Sinisalo on his league debut.
Yeah, go back to that Old Firm game. Kasper Schmeichel was poor. The defence was negligent in front of him. The midfield in front of them were ineffectual. And up front, Celtic were uncharacteristically uninspiring. Even Dyson Maeda did not get 10 out of 10. So the Celtic fans are looking at them today, and they will approve of Nawrocki holding on to his place, because he was the one guy, the only guy against Rangers who got pass marks. So he holds on to his place for that reason. Sinisalo, we do not have enough evidence of his capabilities to make a judgment, because he's only played 1 game against Raith Rovers, who lost 5-0 at Celtic Park. Today's a major test of the Finn, but all of the players in front of him are on trial as well, and McGregor's return will be very welcome to the Celtic supporters, because his absence stuck out like a sore thumb against Rangers.
The priority, Marvin, always is to keep the ball out the net, to state the obvious, but these are Premiership games. Celtic are always the favourite. They have most of the ball. They tend to face far fewer shots than the other teams do. Is it actually about how he does the Kasper Schmeichel bit in terms of starting the moves for Celtic? Is that actually where he'll be judged nowadays?
Yeah, that will be a majority of the game for him, there's no doubt about it. But concentration will be a big thing as well. As you said, Celtic will dominate the ball, but Hearts will get chances. Teams always get chances. And Brendan Rodgers said it in his pre-match stuff, that Kasper Schmeichel's pulled off some really big saves this season. He's not often tested domestically, but when he is tested, he normally stands up to it. And listen, Hearts going forward are a good team. You know, as you said, Celtic are going to dominate it, but Hearts have got some pace at the top end. So on a counter-attack, I expect him to get tested definitely today. And I'm delighted as well that Brendan's decided to, put Trusty on the bench, and Roski keeps his place in the team, because I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I think that's a big question mark. You know, you look at Schmeichel, and he starts all Celtic's moves, especially at Celtic Park, when most teams sort of a drop off and let Celtic build from the back. He's got to be good with the ball at his feet. I don't think Brendan Rodgers would be signing a goalkeeper now if he didn't play the way Brendan Rodgers liked to build up from the back. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the fans are looking forward to seeing him. Yes, he's had 1 game against Raith Rovers, but didn't have a lot to do. I think it'll be a different story today. I think Hearts will test him.
What do you make of Nawrocki in true Clyde One Super Scoreboard fashion? We had one call last night saying needs to stay in, was excellent against Rangers, and the very next call saying no way, didn't impress me against Rangers, didn't progress the ball well enough, and so on. Scott Allen then made the point that he felt that was actually Arne Engels' fault, because the player in front who's supposed to take it off the defenders didn't really offer. Are you surprised he stayed in, or is that the right call?
Yeah, because I look at probably the strongest partnership just now would be Trusty and Carter Vickers, but you stay in because of his performance. He was a better. Hugh was right in what he was saying. He was the best performer against Rangers. To be fair, there weren't many. I totally agree with Scott Allen talking about sometimes you need your midfielders to make those angles for you to play the balls in. I think he's comfortable doing that. Look, if he gets another good performance, then he gives Brendan Rodgers a real problem.
Well, that's the Celtic and Hearts lineup. Some very interesting talking points. We mentioned Callum McGregor back in as well, having missed the game before the break. But we've got big games everywhere you look. Let's go just along the road. St Mirren against Kilmarnock. David Friel is there.
Gordon, I'll try my best to speak above this one. I was looking forward to a real nice spring day out in Paisley, but the weather is atrocious. There's 40 mile per hour winds predicted for kick-off, and let's just hope it doesn't wreck the game, because this should be a big game against two teams who really need a win. We always roll out the start about Derek McInnes's record against St Mirren when these two meet, and I think it's worth going over again. He's only lost one of his 34 league games against St Mirren as a manager. He hasn't lost in 9 games against him as Kilmarnock manager, and I think he's obviously hoping that run continues today in Paisley. It's fair to say Kelly's aim of finishing the top 6 is over. It's all about survival now. They're 10th at the moment, 6 points above St Johnstone at the bottom, but only 1 point ahead of Dundee in that relegation playoff. Look, it's been a disappointing season for Kelly. They've never really hit their stride, never found their groove, and it's just about getting enough points to stay up now. Derek McInnes, he was talking during the week, he believes he never really recovered from that poor start. I think the European exertions took it out of them, but all that matters now is how they finish the season. As for St Mirren, they're still in the top 6 mix, just about. They're sitting 8th, 3 points behind Motherwell, 4 points behind Hearts. They will feel they're still in it. Yes, you would probably say they're outsiders right now, but I think with games to come against Dundee and Ross County after this one, Stephen Robson will feel they can get wins on the board before the split. What won't help the St Mirren manager is the absence of some regulars today. He spoke yesterday, still raging at Toyosi Olasanya's controversial red card against Motherwell for 2 bookings a fortnight ago. He wants changes at the top in terms of that, in terms of the being able to look VAR, look at second bookings when he's also already had an apology from Willie Collum. On top of that, Mikael Mandron is only fit enough for the bench. Alec Jakaviti's injured, Elvis Bomono's come back from international duty injured as well, but there is some good news. Killian Phillips has passed a late fitness test and will take his place in the midfield, and you get the sense he's going to be needed in a game that could turn out to be a real battle today. I'll just run through the team. St Mirren, Zach Hemi in goals, back 3, Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic and Richard Taylor. Ryan Alabiosu, Killian Phillips, Caelan Boyd-Munns, Mark O'Hara and Declan John across the middle, with Roland Dudubu in behind Jonah Ayungu in attack. Subs for St Mirren are Erminski, Kenny, Tanzer, Smythe, Kilty, Oseni, Scott, Mandron and Adeniran. As for Kelly, it looks like a 4-4-2 formation. Robbie McCrory in goals, and Brad Lyons will be playing right back today, with Joe Wright, Lewis Mayo and Corey Ndaba making up the rest of the defence. Matty Kennedy and Fraser Murray will be down the wings. Liam Donnelly and Liam Polworth in central midfield, with Marley Watkins and Bruce Anderson, who's been preferred to Bobby Wills today, in attack. Subs for Kilmarnock are O'Hara, Dees, McKenzie, Armstrong, Watson, Cameron, Ramsey, Wales, and the return for Stuart Finlay. For the first time in 5 months, he takes his place on the bench, which is a huge boost for Derek McInnes and Kilmarnock. Referee at St Mirren is Nick Walsh, and the VAR is Stephen McLean.
You wish you were out there, Gordon Dalziel, just in those conditions, or would you rather be in the warm studio?
I never thought I'd see the day I was jealous of David Friel. You know, imagine just sitting there wrapped up, looking forward to that game and that win.
It sounds tricky, shall we say. Hopefully the football can survive it. David Friel at St Mirren against Kilmarnock. Hibs St Johnstone, watched by Fraser Wishart.
Weather's a bit better here, Gordon. It's quite calm, pitch looking good. Looking forward to a good game of football. Hibs pretty much assured of a top 6 place, but today is a great chance for them to really push hard for that 3rd place in the table come the end of the season, which we know is so important. They play St Johnstone, team at the bottom of the table, and although the Perth side has shown great improvement recently and shown great fight for the Premiership place, Hibs must surely fancy their chances of extending that long unbeaten league run which we talk about every week. But it keeps going. It's now at 14 games, 9 wins and 5 draws. In fact, I was speaking to Chris Cadden during the week, and he pointed out their only defeats in the last 20 games in all competitions have been at Celtic Park, 1 in the league and 1 in the cup. So they're in great form. A combination of, I think, formation change by David Gray, getting players like Bowie and Kuharevich back from injury, means that Hibs fans have an exciting end to the season to look forward to, rather than worrying at the wrong end of the table. But I think David Gray will know this will be a difficult game. The last game, and they played against each other in Perth on January 2nd. It was 1-1, and that was a trigger for the improvement in St Johnstone's form. They themselves are 3 league games unbeaten. They reached the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup as well, but still 5 points behind Dundee in the playoff spot and 6 behind Kelly in 10th and safety. So I think with the split looming, St Johnstone really can't afford to drop further behind. They want to be closer to the teams above them come that split, and if they can close the gap, they'll have every chance of staying up. Stephen Vakari's changed the way St Johnstone play, more through the midfield than before, playing from the back. I think Hibs will try and get after St Johnstone early on. I think they'll press them in their own half and try and force St Johnstone into mistakes. But on the other hand, if St Johnstone know if they can get their passing game together and defend well, they'll get chances on the break against a Hibs team that do lose goals as well. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it'll be open, and I think there'll be a few goals here today at Easter Road. So to the teams For Hibs, just one change. Kieran Bowie drops to the bench and Kuharevich comes in, direct replacement up front. They go with a 3-4-1-2 formation. Jordan Smith's in goals, Lewis Miller, Rocky Bashiri and Jack Iredale at the back. Chris Cadden, Nectaris Triantis, Dylan Levitt and Jordan Obita across the midfield, with Junior Hoylett just tucked in behind the on-form Martin Boyle and Mikola Kuharevich. The subs for them: Joseph Bursic, Noah Mariah Welsh, Dwight Gale, Kieran Bowie, Marvin Ikpieta, Warren O'Hora, Alassana Mane, Rudy Molotnikov and Josh Campbell. For St Johnstone, they've made two changes. Dropping to the bench are Duke McKenna and Sabidi, and they're replaced by Svedberg and Griffiths. Theirs is more of 3-4-2-1 formation. Andy Fisher in goals, Daniels, Balodis, Zach Mitchell and Barry Douglas at the back. Sam Curtis, Jason Holt, Sven Sprangler and Dre Wright across the midfield, with Victor Griffith and Jonathan Svedberg tucked in behind the lone striker Mackenzie Kirk. The subs for St Johnstone: Ross Sinclair, Adama Sabide, Graham Carey, Taylor Stephen, Benji Kimpioka, Stephen Duke McKenna, Nicky Clark, Matt Smith and Elliot Watt. And the referee today, Easter Road, is Matthew McDermott and VAR is Grant Irvin.
I just sometimes despair, Hugh, at the state of Scottish football and the way standards have fallen. The head of PFA Scotland, one of the most important figures in our game, was not on the car park list at Easter Road and was denied entry.
Well, I can only say that heads will roll.
Surely the face is all you need.
Well, I mean, the Black Knights group will be getting a severe letter come Monday morning from PFA Scotland's office, and I wouldn't be surprised if David Gray's job was under threat now.
Did the steward go to the chauffeur's window or to yours, Fraser?
I tried to send him to BAR and get somebody else to have a look at it, but he was too young to remember me playing, which most folk are these days. I actually wasn't on the list to get in the grounds, but my face got me in. Otherwise I was going to phone my old PFA chairman Liam Craig was going to get a 1 o'clock phone call. Never mind the team talk, get me in.
Fraser, did you not use the famous line, "Do you know who I am?"
No, what we're really looking for about 5:05 is to look in our text and WhatsApp and he can't find his car because it's been lifted. That would make my day today.
That is. You might be right, because I parked about a mile away, and let's say it wasn't the nicest area, and there was a few guys looking at me from their balconies. I think some fresh meat down the area.
Listen, Marvin Bartley knows people in that area. He will sort you out. Anyway, he's there. We'll take a look at whether that's an error on our part not getting Fraser into the ground. I'm sure there's been an oversight somewhere. Let's go to Pittodrie, because that is huge between Aberdeen and Motherwell. Dave Galloway has got his own private space at Pittodrie, so how's that one looking, Dave?
Yeah, we're on now. It is working. That's good to see. It's cold, wet and blustery here, but Pittodrie will be packed this afternoon, Gordon, after Aberdeen's £10 a ticket offer was snapped up by fans, including the visitors' allocation of 700. And it's a big game, like you say, for both sides, with Aberdeen in the thick of a fierce fight for third place and Motherwell right in the top six mix. A home victory would guarantee a top half position for the Dons, which was in doubt after their form fell off a cliff following that wonderful start to the season. But the Premiership table is so tight, with 3 matches left until the split, and victory for the Steelmen would cut the gap on their hosts to only 2 points. Plenty to play for then, and hopefully the capacity crowd that is rolling in here will enjoy some really entertaining football today. Let's take a look at the teams then, and Aberdeen make 4 changes. In come Doohan, Clarkson, Gay and Ockles. Out drop Meetoff, McKenzie, Morris and Keskinen. So Ross Doohan in goals then. A back 4 for Aberdeen of Alexander Jensen, Alfie Dorrington, Matt Knooster and Jeppe Ockels. Graham Shinney and Ante Palaversa, the sitting midfielders. Then it's Leighton Clarkson, Kevin Nisbet and Papi Gay, with Odai the Bag leading the line. Subs for the Dons today: Ritchie, Devlin, McKenzie, Polvara, Dabag, Sockler, Morris, Milne and Boyd. As for Motherwell, Payton and Armstrong are in. Out drop Andrews and Plant, so it's Ellery, Balcom in goals. Back three, Stephen O'Donnell, Liam Gordon and Dan Casey. Then it's Tom Sparrow, Andy Halliday, Harry Payton and Dominic Thompson, with Lennon Miller and Callum Slattery assisting Luke Armstrong in attack. On the bench they have Oxborough, Bammer, Kutrombis, Wilson, Watt, Andrews, Maswinize, Plange and Dixon. Match referee is Ross Hardy and the man in VAR is Don Robertson.
Looking forward to it at Pittodrie. Arguably though, the story of the day comes in the Championship. Roger Hannah never needs an excuse to go to Somerset Park, but this is something special. Take it away, Roger.
Oh, what do you want to call it, Gordon? Is it Ayr v Dunfermline? Is it Bruni v Lenny? Is it the ex-Celtic captain against the ex-Celtic manager? We've got two former colleagues of Mark Wilson and two former sparring partners of Hugh Keevins here this afternoon, and they're back together at Somerset Park. Brown won 10 league titles, 6 Scottish Cups, 6 League Cups with Celtic. Lennon was his manager for no fewer than 10 of those 22 trophy triumphs. And you throw in Victor Wanyama, who's back in Scottish football. He get 2 titles and 1 Scottish Cup with Brown and Lennon. And amazingly, as you were mentioning through the week in the show, Gordon, they all share the same birthday, June the 25th. There will be no presents at Somerset Park today because Brown and Lennon are both in desperate need of points at either end of this Championship table. Brown's taken just 1 from a possible 9. It's the worst run of his 14-month spell as manager at Ayr United. He's 11 points off Falkirk, albeit with a game in hand. And after today, they go to Wraith and then have 2 Friday nights against Falkirk and Livingston to come. You contrast that to Dunfermline, just 1 win in 8. They're just 6 points above Airdrie at the bottom. The owner, James Board, sacked Michael Tidser after just 60 days in charge, and he's turned to Lennon and number 2 Ian Brunskill until the end of the season. Wanyama, he arrived after a spell at CF Montreal and been out of the game for a few months. He's on the bench today, not ready to start. And the Celtic factor even stretches as far as the goalkeepers, both on loan from Brendan Rodgers. Josh Clark in goal for Ayr and Toby Olayemi in goal for Dunfermline. I'll give you the teams. Ayr make 4 changes from the 1-1 draw here with Hamilton last week. The big news is the Championship's joint top goal scorer George Oakley has been dropped to the bench by Brown. Lenny Agbear and Cole McKinnon, both on loan from the Old Firm, are also benched, and Frankie Masonda misses out injured. So it's Josh Clark in goal. The back 4 of Dylan Watchwood, George Stanger, Nick McAllister and Scott McMahon. Across the middle, Jay Henderson, Ben Dempsey, Conor McLennan and Jake Hasty. And up top, Jamie Murphy will support Curtis Main on the bench. Stone, Russell and Redding, Agbear, McKenzie and Oakley, Roos, McKinnon and Walker. Lennon makes 2 changes from the 2-0 Derby defeat at Wraith way back 15 days ago. Joe Chalmers, yet another former Celt, and Connor Young come in for Archie Stevens, who goes to the bench, and David Witherspoon, who drops out altogether. So Lennon's first Dunfermline lineup: Toby Olayemi in goal. At the back 4, Aaron Comrie, Jeremiah Chiloka, Mullen, Kyle Benedictus and Ewan Otu. Midfield, Tashin Oakley, Booth, Chris Hamilton and Joe Chalmers. And up top, Connor Young, Chris Kane and Lewis McCann. On the bench, Mehmet, Raymond and Stevens, Fogarty, Clay and Cooper, Yeboah, Hampson and Wanyama. The referee is Ian Snedden, and if it's blowing a gale at Paisley, it is tipping it down from the heavens in Ayrshire, and there is a horrible big wet space up in front of the dugouts. I just hope Lennon and Brown don't slip and fall in it today, Gordon.
Looking forward to it. That's you up to speed ahead of our featured matches. All the team news you could possibly need. Other big games up and down the country, of course, and plenty more build up when we return.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Marvin, Bartley and Gordon Dalziel in the studio. The top team around the grounds as we build up to kick off across the country on the day the Scottish Premiership returns after the international break. We've already given you team news from our featured Premiership matches and our featured Championship match. Now let's take a look a bit further ahead, because usually we have our period of reflection at this stage on a Saturday. We look back on the week's biggest talking points, but it's been a quiet week. Everyone's over Scotland, aren't they? We kicked the backside out of that, Hugh Keevins?
I hope so.
Right, let's look forward. Roger Hannah, tonight Rangers return. One of those that probably the break came for a bad time after the high of beating Celtic. Is this now in many ways a sort of real test of this new look Rangers to see how they go and break down teams that they've struggled against in the past?
Yeah, I would say so. I heard a couple of the callers on the show last night saying just that exact same thing, Gordon. It's funny, Rangers haven't really struggled too much against Celtic in recent times. Yes, they lost the League Cup final, but that was in penalty kicks and they played quite well. They've scored 3 goals in each of the last 3 games against Celtic. But it's places like Dens that they've struggled, and they've struggled there for a long time. You go back 12 months to that week where I think they drew at Dens and lost at Dingwall, and the title just petered away for Philippe Clement, and it carried on into this season really, really bad on the road for a long time. And this is going to be a big test now for Barry Ferguson. Rangers have got some awkward fixtures between now and the split, never mind playing the 5 other best teams after the split. So every game is huge for Barry Ferguson, and one of the things he needs to prove to the fans, and maybe prove to the players themselves, is that they've got the ability to go to Dens Park and win the game.
Fair play to the resilience of the Rangers fans who've been contacting the show, Fraser, because they've had a lot of false dawns in recent times, but they still seem to be believing this is the time. This is the time that things are going to improve and they're going to go and string a run together.
Yeah, I think that's their real hope. But even under the tenure of Barry Ferguson, they've been slapped down as well. You know, losing to Motherwell, they've lost to St Mirren not far. It's not that long ago as well. Lost to Queen's Park, so they're not over all that bad spell just yet. But I think Barry Ferguson would have. I know he gave the players a bit of time off, and I think they needed that because they played so many games. But he'd have probably wanted to have a game last weekend to just keep the momentum going. Because as we've all said, we've kind of lost it a wee bit with Scotland as well. The momentum's gone, and it's a tough game tonight because Dundee will need points for against relegation. They'll come on a high as well, having won against Dundee United in the derby and scored 4 goals as well. So yeah, false dawn's one thing. For me, it's just about trying to close that gap for Rangers. If they can close that gap between Celtic between now and the end of the season, then Barry Ferguson's been successful. And they've also got the Bilbao game to come up as well in a couple of weeks' time. So it's about planning for that. But tonight will be a test. Simon Murray will chase and he'll harry and he'll annoy the back 4 of Rangers as well. So I think it's a really, really tough game. I'd expect Rangers to win, but just by the odd goal.
I don't suppose anything's really changed, David Friel. We're no closer, are we, to knowing when the takeover happens, what it looks like, what that'll mean for Barry Ferguson. I know it's been a couple of weeks, sort of quiet period over the international break, but not much really coming out on that front.
No, not at all, Gordon. I think obviously what's going on in the background, and it looks as if it is nearing completion. It's with the lawyers, and you don't know how long that's going to take. And listen, these things are never easy, these things are never straightforward. It can sometimes be the small details that take the most time. Just to echo what the guys are saying as well, but tonight it's Barry Ferguson. In most of his interviews, he's talked about character. It's all about character, and these are the games Rangers need to go and start winning regularly. It's not just 1 out of 3 or whatever it's been this season. They need to go and put performances in and grind it out, and I don't think they've done it anywhere near enough. And if Barry Ferguson wants to continue to impress in this edition that he's got for the job just now, he needs to show that he can mould a team and he can develop a team that can go and win these games. As Fraser said, Dundee are going to be scrapping forever, and it's at 5:30 kick-off. Crowd will be up. Rangers players need to show that it's not just the big games they can get up for. They can go and do the bread and butter of games like Dens Park.
I suppose this week's highlighted some of it, Roger, with the discussion around Václav Černý, where he, I think, gives an interview on international duty saying he would like to stay. I think most Rangers fans would like to keep him. Barry Ferguson says he wants him to stay. There was a bit of confusion, let's call it that, about what the price would be to keep him, and yet none of it really matters until you know who owns the club and who the manager is.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the new manager might come in and have other plans for that right wing position. He's done very well, Václav Černý, since he's come into the football club. I find it comparable to Abdallah last season, where the player came in on loan. There wasn't that obligation to buy included in the deal. There's no clause that they can get him for a certain fee or at a certain time. The player does well, and then hey presto, other teams want to sign him. Sima went to the French League to play for Brest. He's played and scored in the Champions League. He's enhanced his international ambitions, and Černý could well do something similar next season. I don't think he'll be playing for Wolfsburg unless there's a massive change there. I think he will be sold by them, but the way he's playing, all that's going to happen with the fee is it's going to be driven up and up and up.
A lot of what happens at Dundee tonight will be influenced by what happens between Celtic and Hearts this afternoon. Because if Celtic drop more points, then it will turbocharge Rangers against Dundee. And I think no matter if Celtic were to win, Rangers will beat Dundee anyway, because I maintain that having dumped Jose Mourinho in the Europa League and then followed that up by spooking Brendan Rodgers at Celtic Park on the Sunday and beating Celtic there for the first time in a while, I think that has got Rangers going. I think they go to Dens Park tonight an entirely different proposition from the team, and we all know the story, the backstory, the Queen's Park result, the worst in history in the Scottish Cup. Following that up, the St Mirren game that cost Clement his job, Barry Ferguson, a high one moment, a low the next. But I think that sequence of results, beating Fenerbahce, beating Celtic, I think it makes Rangers a different proposition. And if Celtic do drop points today, people are going to get jumpy.
Some pedant's going to point out that they lost to Fenerbahce in between, but obviously did enough to get through.
But ask yourself who's still in the competition.
I know, that's why I said some pedant. Calm down, he's diving in so early on a Saturday afternoon.
Do you know something?
Don't make me point out to him about the turbocharged bit when Celtic dropped points at Easter Road. That was the same day that Rangers dropped points. I was going to point that out to him for a flaw in his theory as well, but I can tell he's wound up already.
Turbocharged since Fenerbahce and Celtic. That's what I said.
I'm listening to the guys round the ground. They're talking about they think it'll be a difficult game. I don't see the evidence in that. I know you can point back to they were good against Dundee United in the derby. They're down second bottom for a reason. They lose too many goals. You know what I mean? I know that Simon Murray will be a thorn. He'll go up there, but you need more than that. And I think Rangers, if they got and play anywhere at all, I think they'll win this game comfortably tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree with Gordon. You know, it shouldn't be a difficult game for them. Dundee have picked up 16 points at home out of a possible 45. Rangers shouldn't be dropping points to teams like Dundee. Obviously, under Clement, their away form was terrible, and that ended with him, losing his job. But for Barry Ferguson, this is his audition to try and get his job on a permanent basis. He has to go to these places and win, regardless of what Dundee offer. Rangers shouldn't be dropping points against Dundee, regardless of what happens against Celtic v Hearts today. Rangers should be going out at 5:30 and coming away with 3 points.
Bit of time to pass before then. We go back around the grounds ahead of the 3 o'clock kickoffs next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Just under 20 minutes to go until kick-off in the 3 o'clock matches up and down the country. We've got some brilliant stories in the Championship, and further down the leagues, the Premiership is back after the break. So let's take a look at what's happening, particularly at Celtic Park, the visit of Hearts. Here is Brendan Rodgers.
Draw a line under it and then move on. And now, as I said, we're into this business in now. 8 games to go, possibly 2 games in the cup. So maximum 10 games. Now we're ready for the final push. Yeah, I think it'll be a really good game. I think after a really difficult start for Hearts this season, they've obviously moved up the table well. They've settled in well, and now they're up in that top 6, and they want to stay there.
You get that feeling, Marvin, sometimes that you don't want defeat. So I've never bought this theory that a defeat can in any way be a good thing, but just Brendan Rodgers, the players, if there was any sort of complacency in there because they're so far ahead, maybe the Rangers defeat just lights a fire to go and put that right today.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really do. Like you said, no team wants to face defeat, but facing the defeat that they did do against their biggest rivals, their arch rivals, having 2 weeks to wait for their next game, Brendan will say to them, if we're even slightly off it, this is what will happen. Because Celtic are at the top of the league, so everyone's shooting for them. Whenever you play against Celtic, it's your cup final, regardless of what team you are. So Celtic need to be at their best. They need to make sure that they are playing to the best of their ability. Otherwise, they could come unstuck. And again, it's a tough game against Hearts today. He'll want to see a reaction out of them, which he always does get, by the way. They always pick up points after a defeat, and I expect them to do the same today. But I think you're right. You're speaking about their 10 games. You go and win these 10 games, means we get the treble, and then we can go off to celebrate and enjoy our summer.
Reminders of the teams, Gabriel. Let's do a recap.
Yeah, Gordon, just 2 changes for Celtic with Callum McGregor and Viljami Sinisalo coming in. So Sinisalo in goal, Johnson, Kartovikas, Nawrocki and Schlapp at the back, McGregor, Engels and Hatate in the middle, Kun, Maeda and Jota up top. Also 2 changes for Hearts, but it's also a change of formation, going to be 5-3-2 for them today. Gordon in goal, Forrester, Nielsen, Steinvender, Milne and Penrice as a back 5, Devling and Beningame in front of the defence, Shankland as a number 10, and Wilson and Kabungu up top.
Yeah, Gordon, I think Hearts are on obviously much better form. Even look at the games at Tynecastle are different because there's that Tynecastle factor, but they actually started pretty well, and then in many ways it was a game that showed what they're capable of, but showed just how strong Celtic can be, because they win comfortably without playing particularly well for parts of the game. Will they come with a belief that they can cause an upset?
Well, they should. I think I think we'll all fancy Celtic to bounce back after the Rangers game, especially at home. But if they're off it today, Hearts have got players that can punish them. I think they'll be tested. It'll be interesting to see the tactics that he goes with, because you must look at the Rangers game. Rangers pressed and harried Celtic into mistakes, especially in the middle of the park, and Celtic really struggled that day. So you wonder if they go right on the front foot and say, do you know what, we're better having a go than sitting back, taking all the pressure. Because if you do that, 9 times out of 10 Celtic will eventually break you down, win the game. So tactically I think it'll be a very good battle this afternoon.
Celtic are interesting today. Kuhn against Rangers, a shadow of the player who was a contender for Player of the Year because of his performances in the first half of the season. Maeda is the one bright shining light for Celtic. He is just by miles the best player at the club right now. Jota has flattered to deceive for me since he came back from football in France. It's a big afternoon for them. Likewise Engels. As Gordon and Marvin have said, Hearts will take advantage if you're not bang at it. And you've got a new goalkeeper in there in front of a back four who did not cover themselves in glory, with the honourable exception of Mike Nawrocki when they played Rangers. So very interesting game. I said at the very start of the programme, Day of Atonement. I know Brendan Rodgers has said draw a line under it and move on. It's not that easy when you lose to Rangers, and in the fashion in which Celtic lost to them. So I think the crowd are there today in a more critical frame of mind than they normally would be. They're looking for Celtic to turn in a performance along with a result.
Let's hear from Michael Wimmer ahead of that trip to Pittodrie today.
This is brilliant. This is fantastic, and now it's our job also to make the fans happy. And for us, it's perfect that we have 700 supporters. I think they're also happy that we are in the situation that we are in the race to reach top 6. I think they also appreciate it, and I'm very happy.
What was the ticket arrangement again, Dave? It's such a good crowd. Was it £10 a ticket or something?
Yeah, that's right. £10 per ticket. Under 12s, I understand, we're getting in for nothing. So a great initiative by AFC. And looking at the Motherwell section, it's filling up very nicely. Going to be a full house. So really looking forward to it. Let me just very quickly clarify the Aberdeen team. It's just slightly different to what I stated just a short while ago. It's Doohan in goals, then it's Jensen, Dorrington, Knooster and Shinnie at the back, Palaversa and Clarkson sitting in front, then Ockelsgate and Keskinen with Nisbet leading the attack. Like I say, great to see a full house, Gordon, but can Aberdeen deliver? The pressure, the expectation will be much on them, and they'll need to do so much better than in their previous game. A really dire goalless draw with St Johnstone. Motherwell, they'll come here with confidence. They can get at a home side which has looked very unconvincing of late, it has to be said. No wins in 3 league matches for the Dons. The Well, of course, unbeaten in 3 under Michael Wimmer. 2 wins and a draw for them, including victory at Ibrox. So hopefully a cracking contest in cold and blustery and wet Pittodrie to warm us all up.
Yes, hopefully Dave gets a treat. What about St Mirren, Kilmarnock? Sounded like the worst conditions of the lot. How big a loss is Toyose Olusanya, David? I don't know if we've got time at 10 to 3 to debate whether or not IFAB should rewrite the rules and allow people to have their second yellow cards reviewed and all the rest of it, but he is missing today along with Mikael Mandron. How big a blow is that?
Yeah, it's a huge blow, and yeah, they do the Robinson rule, Gordon, but yeah, look, it's a huge blow. He is, in terms of his pace, his endeavour, his goals, everything around him, I just think he makes St Mirren better. You know, everything, we speak in modern football so much about the press and defenders starting that, attackers starting that, and he's as good as you get. You know, he's going to be a loss, he's obviously going to leave St Mirren at the end of the season as well. I think there'll be a long queue of clubs trying to snap him up. But yeah, he's a huge blow, and especially with Mandron only making the bench as well, because I think between the two of them, I think they've been a really good partnership in recent weeks, recent months. So yeah, it's a huge loss. But Stephen Robinson does have options, you know. Jonah Ayunga is there. Adola, I do like him, he's a talented player as well. You get Caelan Boyd-Munns able to chip in the goals, Makahara as well. So look, he's got options there, but there's no doubt it's a huge blow.
Yeah, and looking at your game at Easter Road, Fraser, Marvin's made some calls. Your car is fine for now. It's got no wheels, but it's still there. Just looking at, I wonder if on paper this is one of the sort of easier games to predict, or people would expect that. If you look at Hibs' home form recently and the way St Johnstone at the bottom of the table, it's that time of the season where if you're St Johnstone, not only you're looking for your own result, but you're just 5-5, you're checking everyone else's to see who's done you a favour.
Yeah, I think all the teams are checking whose results have gone which way, because you're looking at top six. You're looking at Hibs in third place at the moment, but just a point ahead of Aberdeen and a couple ahead of Dundee United, so they're going to battle out for that sort of lucrative third place as well. But if you go back to October, November time, then this would have been a really tough game for Hibs, because the fans were on their back. I was at a game here actually mid-December, which started off this run where they were a goal down to Ross County in the first half, and Dwight Gale scored 5 minutes into injury time, and they were getting booed every time they touched the ball. Every pass of the Hibs players by the supporters, they turned that round and won the game. It's amazing how that just kicked off this run, and this is one they must look to win, and win comfortably. The fans will come here with those expectations. They've got Rangers next week, then they've got Dundee here at Easter Road as well, so they've got two bottom teams at home before the split. So there's just so much confidence going through this Hibs team. The supporters are right behind them. There'll be a huge crowd here today, but they've just got to be careful. You know, I think they will go after St Johnstone in the early stages. They'll press them, try and make mistakes, but I've seen St Johnstone a few times. If they beat the press, then all of a sudden they've got pacey players on the break that can cause them problems as well. But all in all, I don't see too many problems for Hibs. It's going to be a long day for St Johnstone, and they're going to be looking at other results, and the teams above them hoping that Rangers win, hoping that St Mirren win to keep Dundee and Kilmarnock closer to them.
And of course, the game of the day in the Championship, maybe even across the country in terms of the headline writers, is at Somerset Park, Ayr against Dunfermline. What's the pre-match build-up been like, Roger Hanna? Are they staying out of each other's way? Are there handshakes, cuddles? What's the mood?
Well, listen, there's been very little sign. I haven't cast eyes on Neil Lennon at all so far. Scott Brown, he was in the main stand being interviewed by an old pal of yours, Gordon Sam North, earlier on in the afternoon, but they're staying indoors until the last minute, and who could blame them? It is absolutely lashing down here. I can only describe the pitch. You could split it into two, Gordon. There's the wet part and then there's the wetter part. It will not be one for the purist here this afternoon. It's the kind of game Scott Brown and Neil Lennon would probably have enjoyed as players back in the day. I'm not too sure it's going to suit the style that Scott Brown's trying to bring in here at Ayr United this season. The referee Ian Snedden was out just before 2 o'clock having a right good look at this area on the stand side of the pitch. It's not clever, there's no grass on it whatsoever. The rain is still coming down, so it's going to be good. It's going to be football in the raw, and I think Bruni and Lenny will love it.
I mean, without divulging the off-the-record bits of the conversation, when I went down to speak to Scott Brown during the week, he was concerned about the state of the pitch, shall we say. But funnily enough, so was Neil Lennon when we went to East End Park later in the afternoon. Barry Robson had a pop at Mark Wilson and Brian Graham's pitch. Is this a bit of an issue as we reach the important bit of the season in the Championship?
Listen, I think it is, yeah. And people would inevitably think the pitches that are worse than the bad weather, you know, December through January, but you can really see a lot of wear and tear on these pitches as we get to the end of March. This rain coming down today certainly isn't helping the surface at Somerset Park. As I say, particularly on this side, it looks really bad from the main stand. And, you know, at a time when young managers like Scott Brown, like Brian Graham and Mark Wilson, like Barry Robson as well, they're trying to get their teams to play football. Unfortunately, the surfaces are not conducive, and there's little wonder that John McGlynn laughs down his sleeve at all the criticism on that surface at Falkirk.
I wonder how Victor Wanyama feels about those memories of the Champions League final a few years ago. Anyway, we're looking forward to the games today. We go back to Celtic Park for kick-off next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Minutes away from kick-off across the country. Big games, top, middle and bottom of the tables. Let's start at the top. Celtic welcoming Hearts to the East End of Glasgow in the rain. Gabriel's going to take us up to kick-off.
Yes, Gordon. Celtic, of course, losing to Rangers 2 weeks ago. They've lost 2 of their last 4 in the league, stuttering a little bit, but they want to sprint over the line. That's what manager Brendan Rodgers says. Draw a line under that game and get ready for the final push of the season as they aim for a treble. 10 games to glory for the Hoops, and it starts this afternoon against Hearts. Well, there's a league debut for Yami Sinisalo in goal, with Kasper Schmeichel out with a shoulder injury. Callum McGregor also returns to captain the team after his absence last time out. So it's Sinisalo in goal. A defence of Johnston, Carter Vickers, Nawrocki, who keeps his place interestingly, and Jeffrey Schlupp. McGregor, Engels and Hatate are in midfield. Nicholas Kuhn and Jota are out wide. Dyson Maeda leads the line. It's his 150th appearance for the club. Apollo Bernardo and James Forrest both been out for around 2 months. They're amongst the substitutes today. As you can hear, the 2 captains leading their teams out onto the pitch. Let's talk about the visitors then in their maroon jersey. It's Neil Critchley's first trip to Celtic Park, and I was looking forward to seeing how he'd set up. The team have been really impressive in the 4-4-2 diamond, winning 4 of their last 5 games. You thought he might stick with it, but no, he's changed to a 5 at the back system. One player to benefit from that is Harry Milne, making his debut for the club at left centre half. He's a boy from Aberdeen like myself, Gordon. I was playing against him when we were 18. Now he's starting at Celtic Park and I'm sitting here in the rain watching him. What a journey for the player. He makes his debut in amongst the defence alongside Forrester, Nielsen, Steinwender and Penrice. It's of course 42-year-old Craig Gordon in goal. Cammy Devlin and Benny Beningame will be in front of them. Captain Lawrence Shank will play as a number 10. James Wilson and Elton Kabangu are up top. We are just about a minute away from kick-off here, Gordon. Not the greatest conditions, but a good crowd packed out to see what's on offer today.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Planning your holiday? Get essential health advice and medication before you travel.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it was due to the Greek tragedy, but it felt like a long international break, Hugh.
Yeah.
It is good to be back. We have 5 featured 3 o'clock matches. How are they going to go? Let's see if the break has done your prediction skills any good.
It would have to be some break for that to happen. Celtic Hearts, a draw.
Oh, controversial Keevins.
St Mirren Kilmarnock, home win. Hibs to beat St Johnstone. Aberdeen Motherwell, draw. And Dundee Rangers tonight, an away win. Ayr United Dunfermline, Bruni beats Lenny.
If that comes up, I'll pay you it myself. I fancy Celtic to bounce back, home win. St Mirren Kilmarnock, a real doer game, draw. Hibs and St Johnstone, Hibs. Aberdeen Motherwell, draw. Ayr to beat Dunfermline, and I fancy Rangers strongly tonight.
I'm going Celtic to beat Hearts, St Mirren to beat Kilmarnock, Hibs to beat St Johnstone, Aberdeen to beat Motherwell.
Get yourself on the road.
Rangers to beat Dundee, and Ayr United Dunfermline. I'm going for a draw.
Okay, let's see how that pans out. We are underway Saturday, 3 o'clock. Pouring rain, howling wind, just how Hugh Keevins likes the conditions.
Yes, sinister.
Let's see if it adds to the drama and sense of occasion, because that's it, you're done with international breaks for this season. They are finished, and now we look forward between now and May to find out how it all ends up. I think most people know how it's going to end up at the very top, but how do those European places stack up? The race for the top 6, the relegation battle, the chance to get promoted to the top flight, it is all in there, and we'll find out in the coming weeks, so plenty to look forward to.
Did you like these conditions, Marv, as a player?
Yeah,
yes,
these are my conditions.
See him playing.
Not a lot of football was being played. A lot of tackles
The
were going in.
Dodgems usually do like them, don't they?
When it's nice and
get slight tackling pitch.
It's exactly that. Referee lets you wave a bit more. Nice and windy. Ball's going absolutely everywhere. Just run into people.
Yeah. And you made a career out of that.
Like the Masters all over again.
I'm looking forward to this afternoon. I think there's got to be a lot of tight games there. I don't think we're going to get a lot of goals. Everybody's scrapping for points, whether it's at the top of the league or for the top 6 or down the bottom. It'll be interesting. Hibs St Johnstone, I was listening to Fraser saying he fancies Hibs comfortably. I don't know. I went for Hibs, but I think that'll be a tight game.
I think Hibs at home are very, very good, though. That's the difference. I watched them against Kilmarnock, and Kilmarnock obviously scored really, really late to make it 1-1, and Hibs weren't great, really. You know, that they started the game okay, and Kilmarnock were there waiting to be beaten, and Hibs just couldn't do it. But I think at home they're just a completely different animal, and I think St Johnstone defensively will struggle.
Have to be the result of the season for Simo Valakari if he was to get anything out of Easter Road, the way things are. But it's so tight down there. Kilmarnock, at Paisley, they've got to hope that they get something, because Derek McInnes' old pal Tony Docherty, who knows, if he were to get anything from Rangers tonight, then it changes down at the bottom. Fascinating day throughout the Premiership. And Mark Wilson, Morton versus Partick Thistle.
That'll be a classic.
Well, Morton had 3 points in their hand, and then at the very last against Wraith Rovers midweek, they had a 3-3 draw, and that changed the complexion, because had they won the game, they could have gone above Partick Thistle with a win today. So Hamilton Wraith as well. Hamilton win at home, Lenny loses in Ayr, and all of a sudden looking dodgy down there for Dunfermline and Neil Lennon.
Aberdeen have started well, gone on the attack. Keskinen's shot hits the side netting. Ockles was the one who fizzed the cross in. They've started on the front foot, but no goals doing yet. Of course, very early days in the 3 o'clock games. Did Mark Wilson get in touch? Any tactical words of wisdom for him today? Or
no, I got it all on Thursday night. My big mistake is I come in too early on a Thursday night. I've got to sit and listen to him tactically. I think I've got to say he's doing very well. I hope he keeps it up, because it keeps him out of the studio. And that'll be a difficult one. They've done their homework in Morton. But you look at Morton there, right? If Morton win that game, all of a sudden there's a bit of pressure on Partick Thistle.
It's a tough place to go as well, Morton. Capello's a real tough place, and
I used to love playing there, mate.
Did you?
Yeah, I broke all sorts of records there.
Just long ball over the top, use your pace to get in.
I was dynamite, hat trick after hat trick.
You could do with you now, Dougs.
Exactly.
It's a pity the Ballon d'Or didn't exist when you were playing, isn't it, really?
I wasn't that good. I was good, but I wasn't that good, Hugh.
It's nice of you to clear that up for us.
You know what I mean?
Maybe this is how Sinisalo would have planned it, because you'd want to touch the ball early, but you don't want anything too taxing. You don't want to be at risk of conceding. So he's made his first save, but a nice easy one, a sort of Lawrence Shanklin kind of sclaffed looping effort, and Sinisalo makes his first save. So, as they say, Marvin, you're one of the optimists amongst the Super Scoreboard team. Is it just about, for all the disappointment for Kasper Schmeichel, it just has to be a chance for him to just show what he can do?
It has to be a chance, 100%. And listen, when he signed for Celtic, he'd have been dreaming of moments like this, getting a run in the team. I know he's played that one game against Wraith Rovers, and he would have thoroughly enjoyed it. Was he tested a lot? Not really. Playing up from the back, etc., was probably the main thing that he needs to do during that game. But yeah, listen, being in goal for Celtic, league game, a lot of people within the ground, playing against a good Hearts team, he'd be loving it.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
First goal of the afternoon, and it comes at Pittodrie. It goes the way of the visitors. It's the man in form as well. It is Callum Slattery, and it's a header in off the bar, across from Harry Payton from the left hand side. Shows nice footwork, skips away from Kevin Nisbet, and in sneaks Callum Slattery. There is a VAR check on it, as we should be used to by now, whilst that goes on.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Mirren have taken the lead already against Kilmarnock, and it is Caelan Boyd-Muntz, a low shot 20 yards out. You can almost imagine it. He's got that in his locker. Had a very worrying injury before the break, but bounced back no problem, opens the scoring, and St Mirren and Motherwell in the lead.
And as things stand, we've got two managers under pressure then, because Derek McInnes and Kilmarnock, they're far too near the playoff place, and they're not out of the woods where the automatic relegation place is concerned either. So it's a bad start for Derek McInnes. Jimmy Tilleen, for me, the whole question of Aberdeen has to be asked now. That they had the magnificent start to the season. They were the talk of the place. Could they split the old firm? The Aberdeen fans were even saying about winning the championship. They are not progressing. They are mediocre at best, and
Can I ask you to wait just in case Aberdeen go and win 5-1 from here?
No, I have no time to wait.
Yeah, you went very
6 minutes
early.
in.
6 minutes in.
I
You'd be
am-
making a substitution by now.
Of course I would. I am assessing the game as it goes on. As things stand, you have to ask questions of Aberdeen. They're mediocre. They've reduced the ticket prices before people lose interest in them, and I just think that they are a bit of a myth, Aberdeen.
St Mirren penalty as well.
Another one.
What do you mean? First one wasn't a penalty.
Oh, no, they've got a goal. Now they've got a penalty.
Yes.
Well,
That's
I did say there'd be very few goals. Yeah, we might have 3 within the first 10 minutes. But I'll tell you what a great start for MFC up against AFC. I'll tell you, that's a ding dong.
Hearts have started well. They've now got a free kick in a decent crossing position. So it was Lewis Mayo who's taken down Ayunga in Perth. It looked soft according to David Friel. As it stand, Roland Idowu is going to take. Stephen Robinson was telling everybody yesterday they're the hardest done by according to the KMI panel.
I cried it in.
They've got a penalty to try and double their advantage. Yes, double their advantage. 8 minutes, and it is battering down with rain at Celtic Park. Nothing really doing yet, but Hearts will be encouraged by their start. They crossed it in. Nawrocki headed the ball clear. Still waiting to find out the confirmation of that penalty. It has been given. I feel like we're so back. It only took us 6 minutes and we are back. Didn't know what to do with ourselves last Saturday. I was working at that.
I know what I was doing last Saturday.
I was working at that Sky Sports Cup final. It was at Fir Park. I didn't see you there. I thought as a student of the game.
No, unfortunately I was otherwise busy.
Saturday was the night you were spotted on the train, and then a gentleman phoned in on Thursday to say that he saw you on the train and your face. Oh, it was a picture.
Yeah, I was listening to my conversation because I said that I liked rugby and I didn't like football. I didn't know anything about football.
Well,
they sort of backed up a little bit, didn't they?
Right, there is going to be a penalty to St Mirren to try and double their advantage. Roland Idowu going to take it. Caelan Boyd Munce. The ball keeps blowing off the spot. Brilliant. It's one of those days. He allowed to do
the finger one.
Someone lie down.
Lie down and do the finger.
He gets it eventually.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dream start for St Mirren, nightmare start for Kilmarnock. Low clinical penalty. It is St Mirren 2, Kilmarnock 0 with 10 minutes gone.
Well, you said we were back.
I'll let you repeat your Derek McInnes point if you want.
Yeah, he doesn't know whether he's back or front. He doesn't know where he is, and neither do his team. And the day is over for Kilmarnock now, so they have to look at those round about him.
He might be right. He might be right.
Go on then. Tell me Kilmarnock will score 3 times.
No, I'm not going to tell you that. I think Kilmarnock are in real trouble. I think Kilmarnock, for some reason, where the squad they've got is just they're poor. And Derek's come out and basically, it was just before the international break, criticised the players as well. And your next game, you lose 2 goals within 10 minutes.
And this is St Mirren without Olasanya.
I think it's all very not Derek McInnes team-like though, isn't it? The defence is they're just not as hard to break down as they used to be. I mean, even the Rangers game in a different way, they actually go 2 up but then look wildly open and somehow lose 4 from there.
Yeah, they've gone away from his sorts of teams. Like you said, they're normally hard to play against, normally very, very physical, very well drilled. But as I said, I watched them against Hibs and they were all at sea. They tried to play 4-4-2, which I don't think works in the modern game when it's a flat midfield 4. I think that's far too much running for the central players. And they really are struggling. As Hugh said, they're starting to get dragged into something now that they thought they would be well away from. I think they were aiming for a top 6 place. They've had a decent budget this season as well.
Another good chance, Hearts. There is a corner. I think Lewis Nielsen maybe gets the final touch. Decent low save from Sina Salo. Celtic have started shaky, according to Gabriel. Hearts have had nothing amazingly clear cut, but definitely the brighter in front of goal. In fact, that Lewis Nielsen chance is a decent one. So first good chance goes the way of the Jambos.
Well, they left shaky. They've come back shaky. And they had better get the finger out because the crowd will be getting agitated at Celtic Park.
Have you got first half teasers, Hugh?
Yes, I have.
I'm going to get it in a second, don't you worry. Very good save, Ellery Balcombe. Keskinen was in. He was just about 7 yards out. Balcombe spread himself and makes the save. So Motherwell remain in front. It was a nice pass from Kevin Nisbet. Aberdeen look like they're settling after falling behind and are the team in the ascendancy at the moment. Shall we, Hugh?
Why not?
The first half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
What you have to remember here, I want 3 Celtic players, I want 3 Rangers players. Before this season, name the last 3 players to score for either Celtic or Rangers under an interim manager. Before this season, name the last 3 Celtic players to score under an interim manager and the last 3 Rangers players to score under an interim manager.
Hold that thought, because we've got another one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Aberdeen are level already. It was Dorrington with the shot deflected. It came from that spell. It was a good save. Balcombe then out for a corner. Motherwell couldn't clear, and Dorrington, who's in the team to keep the ball out at the other end, pops up with the shot deflected, and we are level at Pittodrie.
And will Jimmy Talene be delighted to see that goal before the crowd get restless at Pittodrie? I still think that Motherwell will come out of there with a point. That's why I took that game for a draw, but Aberdeen have struck back.
Yeah, I think Aberdeen will go on to win it, as I said. I was shocked at the start. They obviously may go 1-0 behind, but good reaction from them, getting back on level terms. And as Hugh said, it's a packed crowd there as well, so the fans would have begun to get restless, but now they'll be fully behind their team.
But disappointing for Motherwell. You go 1-up away to a tricky fixture. Great opportunity, because you would say with Celtic beat Hearts this afternoon, great chance to leapfrog them if they get something at Pittodrie. You get off to the perfect start and you give it advantage right back.
Kevin Clancy's blown for a foul, but Celtic felt that they should have had it for a handball. Nawrocki was involved, so I don't know if we're going to hear any more of that. But as things stand, nothing doing there. Dunfermline are on top in the game against Ayr. They've got the window. That's something you've got to take into account today, because David Friel says they've got it. St Mirren have got the wind as well. Maybe Kelly just turn it round in the second half.
What would you do, Marv? Would you shoot with the wind first half?
Yeah.
Would you? Just in case the weather changed second
exactly,
half?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. What about you?
I'd have phoned Sean Batty and asked him what his prediction was.
Right. There is going to be a VAR check on this, so Celtic could be about to get the handball decision. No, foul by the attacking team, no penalty. There we go. So onwards to the next talking point. What else have we got doing here? Just read your teaser again, Hugh, because I do want to give a hint to some people. I think it's only fair.
Before this season, name the last 3 players to score for either Celtic or Rangers under an interim manager. 3 Celtic players, 3 Rangers players.
The Celtic ones in particular, you're going to need to be very, very accurate. That's what I would need to say, because it is the last 3, particularly the last 3. There's a reason that you need to be very select.
I'm trying to think who Celtic's last interim.
Lennon, no? Neil Lennon?
What about when he left?
Kennedy.
Big John.
Okay, we'll see how you get on. It's a quite a tough question, actually, but we'll see. We'll have to separate you all from the... See what the level of knowledge is out there. What else is coming in? Nothing yet to tell you about. No more goals. We probably needed a bit of a break, actually. They were raining in at the start. Difficult conditions, not stopping the goal scoring entertainment out there. Nothing really yet from the big game in the Championship. Dunfermline, as we said, are on top. They've had a series of corners. Ewan Otto was off target from 20 yards. So Scott Brown will be looking for a bit more from his team.
Decent player, that Otto. I like him. Really good play. He's on loan from Celtic. Is he there permanently now?
Is he the best of a struggling bunch from
no
Dunfermline this season?
There's a young boy Mullen, who plays for Scotland under 21s, centre half. He's on loan from Leeds at the moment, but came through at Liverpool. Really, really good defender. Actually spoke to Lenny about him when Lenny went in to take the job, because I watched him a couple of times, and yeah, really comfortable on the ball. Good change of pace. He's got a bit about him as well. He got smashed against Wraith Rovers, I think it was, and did his nose, but he came back out with the old tissue up there and played on. I'd have been off the pitch. So he's obviously...
I'd have had to come back with a blanket.
I didn't want to say.
No quilt.
So no, they've got a couple of good players there, but that Otto's quite versatile
he's
as well.
Though. He's a permanent.
He's a permanent, yeah. He's quite a versatile player as well.
He'll have a few suitors maybe at the end of the season. Aberdeen have got their tails up a bit after that equaliser. Ellery Balcombe's called into action again, so they are coming forward. Aberdeen, they look in the mood. Shot from outside the box, and Balcombe having to parry it away.
Story of the day so far, Kilmarnock. What's gone wrong there? I stress so far because there are potentially many stories in many places today, but that's a real sore one for Derek McInnes. They're slipping down. They have had a very awkward season altogether, and St Mirren, minus, I would argue, their best player, are 2 up. And I do take the weather conditions into account. However, in Kilmarnock's current state, you can't rely on the wind blowing them towards a draw or anything better.
They're awful away from home as well. They've got the worst away record in the league. They've only picked up 9 points so far this season. So there's no surprise that they're looking over their shoulder at Dundee and potentially at St Johnstone, depending on how things go as well. So, yeah, listen, Derek McInnes will be scratching his head with how we can turn this around, but he needs to do it.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal Celtic, goal Dalziel Maeda. You could just replay that clip every other week. Callum McGregor breaks through, it's a great pass, and there is Maeda doing what he does this season. He gets in behind the defence, finds the finish, and most people's idea of Scotland's Player of the Year, Fraser Wishart may know more about that than us, has scored again.
The most exciting, the most entertaining, the most productive Celtic player. If there was no Dalziel Maeda, Celtic would be really short up front, but he is the man, and he is without question the Player of the Year.
It's incredible the fact that putting him through the middle, because obviously the situation with Kyogo, he's fitted in that position brilliantly. And the one thing you're judged on if you play with Celtic Rangers as a front man is goals, and he's certainly getting plenty of them. I totally agree with you. There's only one winner there. I know Fraser tries to keep it secret, but
to be fair, they might not even have voted yet. I was just throwing Fraser's name in to be.
Yeah, they don't need to vote, do they?
No,
they don't. We've made a decision for them.
No, I used to do my speech round about February, March for the championship one, because I knew there was,
you're getting it.
2 in a row and that. Don't know if you've ever done that.
Only spent 1 year in that league, but yeah.
Oh, did you?
But yeah, listen, he's been unbelievable since being put up front. Like you said, losing Kyogo, having to sell him, and Maeda's just taken to it. And one thing you're going to get Celtic his chances, as you said there, and he's putting the ball in the back of the net, but his work rate off it as well, and his willingness to run in behind. He must be a centre half's absolute nightmare. I honestly would rather play against Kyogo than Maeda, because he just offers so much, and with McGregor coming back in and actually playing the ball forward as well makes a huge difference. So yeah, Maeda, again, he's going to score a lot of goals between now and the end of the season.
29 for the season. And again, Gordon, though, the returning captain, Hearts are giving it a go. You know, I always talk about, will teams come and press, or will they sit in? They're trying to press Celtic, but Celtic getting their way out, and Callum McGregor is so important. He's so key to that.
Yeah, and I think that was shown against Rangers when they needed a lift, when they needed a leader, when they needed, that bit of experience. It wasn't there, and Rangers quite rightly won the game, I thought. But it's a hard one, because you're looking against Maeda and you're wanting to press Celtic up the pitch, but if you leave that space in behind, the quality they've got from the middle of the park just to cut you open, and if he gets away from you, you ain't catching him. And obviously that's what happened this afternoon. He's got off to a great start. As you say, McGregor picks up great positions, great weighted ball into Maeda, and it's a calm finish.
Was Gabriel's pal at fault at all? Or will Gabriel be getting into the Hearts dressing room at half time?
Harry Milne?
Yeah, they need to go in there and give him some coaching lessons.
I wonder if Harry Milne ever turned up in the gantry at Hampden with a trophy. Did you know that one? No. Gabs turned up at Hampden Cup final with a trophy. Right, instead of leaving his car, he brought it in, and I was excited for him. I says to him, "That's a lovely looking trophy. We won the cup today." He was sub, mate. Never even got unused sub.
He's got the trophy. What a man.
I was worried there for Andy Halliday. He was down, he was getting treatment, but he's fine. He's back up.
Made of strong stuff. Is our Andy.
Good to go. He is good to go. In fairness, we do like to slag him, because he goes down for treatment quite a lot, and 39th appearance of the season. He's played in every single Motherwell game, the only person to do so.
I tell you what, he's been a good signing for Motherwell, hasn't he? I know that we like to have a laugh and a joke, but sometimes obviously when you watch him, you've got to have a laugh and a joke. But he's been a good pro, he's been a good signing, and I think he's triggered another year in his contract. Am I right in saying that, Gone? So it'd be good to have him.
Yeah, listen, so reliable, like you said, and a real leader. I know he doesn't wear the captain's armband, but he always leads by example when he's on the pitch. Be well respected as well, because the level he has played at. And listen, he's still got a massive appetite for the game as well. You know, when players do get on a little bit, I'm not saying he's an old man, but it's so important they do have that appetite, and Andy trains the way he plays. So yeah, I know he's well respected by all of his teammates.
I think Motherwell are going to be forced into a change at the back though. Liam Gordon perhaps the one who's going to limp off, and Kofi Balmer, who is away with the Northern Ireland squad, he will come on in his place. So that's a bit of a blow for Michael Vimmer early on. I'm sure he would have rather kept his back three intact, but as we reach the halfway point of the first half, he's been forced into a change. We've finally got a goal at Easter Road.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's a goal for Hibs. Junior Hoylett with it, the experienced campaigner. You know that quality doesn't leave you though. It's a brilliant finish as well. Cuts in from the left, finds the back of the net, and that one going with form, curled into the top corner to make it Hibs 1, St Johnstone 0.
Well, you can't see St Johnstone coming back now, can you? Really, the game's done.
Have you written them off already?
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, we'll be finished maybe 4 o'clock this afternoon. Once Hugh just writes off every single team when they lose a goal.
You kind of need that, Marvin, though, when you know the expectation is on Hibs now. They've taken themselves to that level where you're really expected to win these games this season. So, but it's not always that simple. In the first goal, getting it at an important time.
Yeah, it's never that simple, as you said. And listen, Juniors came back into the team. I think when Hibs were struggling at the start of the season, he was probably one of their best players. There's then a change of shape, so he's been on the bench, and now he's starting games again, that number 10 position, and he finds so much space. You know, you spoke about the quality that he does have. Having Martin Boyle at the top end stretching the game allows Juniors to pick up those pockets. And listen, he's a remarkable player that's done ever so well for them, and like you said, it's a really good goal for him as well. So yeah, long may it continue. Again, I think they'll now go and romp St Johnstone.
So we're ticking along nicely. Celtic.
Marv came with me there. He came right down the road with me.
I'm with you, Hugh.
Celtic are in the lead. Hibs are in the lead. St Mirren have a 2-goal lead against Kilmarnock, and we're level between Aberdeen and Motherwell. So just like that, every single game in the top flight has a goal already, the way it should be. Huge chance for Kilmarnock to get back in it though, and Liam Polworth has missed an absolute sitter. That won't improve Derek McInnes's mood.
Well, when your luck's out, it's out. That could have been pivotal, but they've missed it, and they'll now need to see if they can get another chance.
Oh, they need the goal before half time. Let's be honest. The next goal is important, and it has to be, if you're Kilmarnock, Derek McInnes, got to get it, give them a chance.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal Celtic, and it is Jota this time. Maeda almost scoring. Even when he's not scoring, he's coming close because his header hits the post, and then Jota follows it, smashes it into the net, and Celtic are comfortable. Celtic 2, Hearts 0.
Still fancy that draw?
I'm not getting
You're not feeling
vibes
it.
about
No,
that.
you're not feeling that one.
That feeling's leaving.
Jota's struggling as well, isn't he?
Well, don't you start.
Sorry.
You and Yang. I tell you, Gordon, that when Celtic won at Paisley and Yang scored, I had him on right away.
Oh, did he?
All night long. But anyway, Jota, yep, he has been in and out since he returned to Celtic, but that will do him the world of good. And Celtic have drawn the line under it, it would appear, and they have moved on.
This could be a long day for Hearts. It really could be.
It's another one though, like what we said, they're not playing that badly.
No.
And they've got up the pitch and they've offered. He's playing a better team and they're more clinical.
Yeah, and when you see the first goal, opening goal, it's 3 passes and all of a sudden the ball is in the back of the net. Into McGregor plays a great pass through. Maeda outruns the defence, puts it calmly in back of net. So all of a sudden Celtic, yeah, they're that sort of team. 2 or 3 passes and you could find yourself before half time 3-4 and the game's well away from you.
Remind us of the teaser, Hugh.
Yeah, this is a question involving an answer that has 3 Celtic players and 3 Rangers players. Before this season, can you tell me the last 3 players to score for either Celtic or Rangers under an interim manager?
I told you the Celtic one, you need to be clever, because the last game, I'll give even more away now, they had 4 scorers. We're looking for the last 3 from each, so you have to even remember which order they came in. As for Rangers, Marvin, you won't like it, because this includes the interim manager that you said was an interim manager during the week.
Who did you say?
The driving instructor David is his name.
Oh, hold on a minute. Not a chance. He was the last interim manager.
No, he was the second last.
It must be Davis, isn't it?
Okay, I'll give you that. So you're looking for maybe a Stephen Davis game, maybe a David McCallum game. Who was Celtic's last? I think you thought it was maybe John Kennedy. So there we go.
Oh, so it's over the 2.
Yeah.
Davis only had 1 game. Who did he play? It was like
St Mirren, was it not? St Mirren at St Mirren? Am I right in that?
Just need to wait and find out.
I thought it was Kilmarnock.
At Clyde SSB. So some good answers coming in from the memorable 5-5 that we spoke about. Windass, Holt, Alves. But they were under Graham Murty. So we're looking for the 2 since then. 2 managers since then.
Did Jason Holt score in that game, did he? Jason Holt, did you say? Yeah. The aeroplane game.
The aeroplane game, exactly.
Oh.
I was at that.
So was I. I watched that too on the bench.
Were you the bench?
Yeah. What a lovely day that was, by the way.
That was a sunny day. I remember that.
Yeah.
Lovely day.
A far cry from what we've got here. Jota enjoyed that one. He smashes home the rebound to make it Celtic 2, Hearts 0. We are still level at Pittodrie. Kilmarnock have settled a bit, which I think they obviously had to. And you never know. I know Hugh's got them written off, but obviously.
So was Marv.
Oh, no,
yeah, I went
St Johnstone.
But I went St Mirren to win anyway. But they need to, Gordon said it earlier, they need a goal before half time. I just think psychologically they need that. Going in at half time 2-0 down makes it very, very difficult. Also, I think a goal will calm the manager down. Because right now I'm sure he's seething with the start they've made. And listen, he questioned them, like you said, going into the international break, speaking about the players. And professional football, you have to react to it. It's that simple. There's no time to shy away from it. They're in the position they are in because the players haven't been ultimately good enough. So yeah, listen, being 2-0 down away at St Mirren, horrible day for it. I just think they need a goal before half time.
Motherwell players furious about a Papa Gay challenge on Andy Halliday, because it was one of those pure retaliation ones where you think you've been fouled by someone else, so you just get up and he's gone the scissor motion on Andy Halliday. But he might just not have,
don't mind it,
gone from
yeah,
Papa Gay,
and he wonders why he was on the bench.
He might not have it might not quite have the old intensity, but he's taken a heck of a risk. I think that Graham Shinnie maybe had to have a word and tell him just to calm down.
Papa Gay know that Andy comes from Govan.
I don't think Andy's going to take that too well. That was naughty.
Was it?
Yeah, I think one of those deliberate ones where, like I said, you lose the ball or you think you're fouled, so you see the red mist a bit.
But Andy's not that type of player, is he?
No, he didn't.
No, but I mean retaliate. Would you?
Oh, yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Do you think he would wait for him?
100%.
I don't think
I've
that
got
was
no doubt in my mind.
I didn't think that was in his locker.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Sense a yellow card coming up.
Yeah, he's got a bit of that about him. 100%.
We'll find out. We're not too far away from play resuming, although again it was more treatment. He said a lot of one-on-one time with the physio.
But the physio hates when he's naming the team. I bet he goes in, chaps the door on a Friday and goes, Gaffer, you're not playing Halliday. Tell me you're not playing Halliday.
It's the only featured game we have without a goal is the one that's got all the storylines attached to it. Dunfermline going to Ayr, Neil Lennon, Scott Brown, Victor Wanyama, all born, all have the same birthday. Sorry.
Yeah, do you know that?
Yeah, I know. Someone
week.
told me that yesterday. I had to actually check it out. I didn't believe them. Did not believe. It's the 25th of June.
Did you check it?
I did check it.
And is it true?
And it's true.
I doubted it as well.
Yeah, I did doubt it. I thought it was a wind up.
I foolishly said that they'd all be sitting in the maternity ward going, my baby's got to be a footballer. But then I realised the age difference.
Yeah.
They would have been. They had to have been sitting there for a while.
Yeah, Neil Lennon and Victor Wanyama being the same age would be quite a story.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't think you quite.
I didn't figure that one out.
Through.
No, I didn't.
But anyway, right. The last goal we had to tell you about was that Jota one. It was a simple finish for him. Daizen Maeda's header, because Daizen Maeda's doing a bit of everything these days, off the woodwork, and then close range finish. I think the Hearts players, Marvin, I mean, you'll have probably been there. Where you just think like you're not doing loads wrong. You're just playing a better team who can absolutely hurt you.
Yeah, listen, you have to be at your ultimate best when you go to Celtic Park, and that's the thing. Sometimes you don't do too much wrong. They're just a better team, and they manage to play through you. They've got a striker in red hot form as well, so it's one of those difficult ones as well for Neil Critchley at half time, because as you said, because they are doing okay. What do you really change? Do you try and go for it a little bit more, and then potentially let in even more goals? So yeah, it's a difficult one for the players on the pitch, but again, they'll want to get in at half time 2-0, reassess things and see if they can make a challenge of it in the second half.
You can see why Celtic want to extend Daizen Maeda's contract. He's the man at Celtic.
Can they though, Hugh?
Well, Finance comes into this because Brendan Rodgers said an interesting thing yesterday when he spoke about players who have come a long way from Asia, for example, to play for Celtic, and there comes a point where they feel it's time for me to go somewhere else now. So the long extension to the contract could be Celtic's way of safeguarding their financial position with regard to the player.
Why do you not think they could, Marvin? Because he is under contract till 2027 anyway.
Yeah.
So if he signs it, he's going to get more money.
Yeah.
And if any club wants to buy him, they'll just need to show how much they want him.
I think the thing is, I agree with what Hugh's saying there. Because obviously, me being from England, but obviously you guys being Scottish, we understand the size of Celtic and what it means to play for the club. I think at 27 years of age, though, he might just be thinking, I might have one more big move in me. I think on the back of this season, where he's definitely going to hit more than 30 goals as well, I think there'll be a lot of options for him. And listen, he's been at Celtic, he's won a lot of things. He's obviously loved his time here. And I'm not saying that he would definitely leave the club. I just don't see why he would sign a contract extension. I just, financially, I think it's just too much to do.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hibs 2, St Johnstone 0, and it is Martin Boyle, not put off by travelling around the world on international duty over the break. He's got his 16th of the season. He's been in really good form. In fact, one of those though came against Indonesia for Australia. He scored against St Johnstone, and it's 2-0 to Hibs.
He's in great form, isn't he, this season? He looks a different player. I think a lot of people had written him off.
Yeah,
thinking, well, he's coming to the end of his career, whatever it may be. But I tell you what, he's in great form. That's why Hibs are sitting up there in third place just now and cruising this afternoon.
And on a day when you said with very few goals, that's 8 so far.
Hugh, I know. That's the only thing. I'm glad I'm not an Australian in case I get called up for international duty. Whoa, imagine that. I know I've got a home game. No, mate, I'm no coming.
I think with him playing up front as well, like you say, Negon, a lot of people had written him off. I think on the wing, he looked like he was struggling. He was struggling out there, but I think the change of shape's really, really helped him. Where he's just using his pace to get him behind. And I said, look at Barry Douglas and Dre Wright down that side and fancy himself all day long. So his tail would have been wagging, so to speak. So yeah, listen, that's 16 goals for the season for him. He'll get over the 20 mark as well, and like you said, he's got the team firing in third place.
But Derek McInnes, he's saying good. We're 2 down, but at least they're 2 down as well. They're a pest. They're out the way, and now you'll see how his old pal Tony Docherty does tonight, because it's come down to that for Derek McInnes and Kilmarnock. They're right in the mess here.
I think also the Simo Valakari came in and tried to play a very deliberate way, Marvin, and there's no right or wrong, because who's to say that if you just lump it up the park, Hibs don't come and score anyway? But it's twice, they're about 25 yards out, Hibs take the ball off them and then go and score. So not easy to pull off effectively if you're St Johnstone.
No, exactly that. And without being disrespectful, when you're a team that are bottom of the league and a manager wants you to play that way, it seems that every mistake that you do make is punished. I don't think they've got the players to do it the way he wants to play. And ultimately they've been struggling with it, and Hibs will set traps for them and they'll press them and they'll steal the ball high, and they'll constantly do it, and they've already got 2 goals. So
do you think they're automatic down, Marv? Just now
St Johnstone?
Yeah,
definitely.
With a split?
Yeah, definitely.
Why are you saying that though?
Why?
Because
do you not like St Johnstone?
Got a St Johnstone fan in the house, doesn't he?
My missus and their family support them. They're gone.
He just does it.
So you mean the night when you go,
he just does it to stick the boot in.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely gone. No, but you know what? I said start of the season as well. I did say that they would be gone. But I think there's too much for them to do. I think playing that style makes it so easy for teams to set up and play against them.
Jeffrey Schlupp had an effort saved by Craig Gordon a moment or 2 ago. The fans are singing David Gray's name. I mean, they used to do that anyway, given his heroics as a player.
What a turnaround for David Gray,
Yeah.
And by the way, you've got to congratulate the board. It could have been easy to pull the trigger once again, but they stuck by him. They obviously seen the potential in him. He turned it round. He's got the results. Change the system. It's incredible, isn't it? You try something different as a manager or a coach. You hope it works for you, and they're absolutely flying.
Again, if you're a Hibs fan, they're 2 up, Hearts are 2 down, so that makes it a good day.
Yeah, and Aberdeen are drawing.
Yeah,
makes it even better today, doesn't it? So yeah, listen, they're in a fantastic position. If they can get that 3rd spot as well, that'd be absolutely massive financially.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, Marvin, it's not like they didn't make that many January signings, did they?
No, they've had a lot of players in the building though.
So yeah, but that's what I mean. It's not like this upturn is partly because they just added to the squad. You know, those players, faith had to be kept with them as well, and they improved, you know, as the season's gone on.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 1, and it is a stunner from Leighton Clarkson. He's on the edge of the box. He fires it high into the far top corner. Ellery Balcom was at full stretch, couldn't keep it out. 2 goalies, as they say, wouldn't have kept it out, and Aberdeen take the lead.
Well, Motherwell started the day so brightly, but it's gone awry at the moment, but only at the moment, because plenty of time left.
Oh, team's losing, you're not written them off.
No, not writing Motherwell off. I don't have sufficient confidence in Jimmy Tulleen and Aberdeen to write them off.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You'd written him off when he was losing.
Yeah. He's on borrowed time.
Hugh likes to get a manager sacked now and again. It's a big blow for Motherwell. It really is. Got off to the best start possible, but with that big backing behind them, £10 to get in, brilliant, and kids obviously in for free, brings them back into the football, creates the atmosphere, and Aberdeen have risen to
Do you think Dave Galloway, since under 12s were getting in for free, do you think Dave Galloway turned up in the school short trousers and tried to
that's the night for the last bus out of the 6?
I'm under 12.
It'll really please Jimmy Tulleen, because it's a corner, but it's well worked. It's a nice routine, couple of passes worked out to Clarkson, but then you need a real bit of magic to stick it in the top corner from there. So it has a bit of both. There's the design to get it to him, and then the execution. It was brilliant stuff.
Brilliant technician though, isn't he? He really does strike a good ball. You know, his technique is second to none. And listen, I think Aberdeen would have looked at this game without being disrespectful to Motherwell and said it's definitely one that we can win, one that we need to win, because I think they've looked at Hibs' game as well and said that they'll beat St Johnstone, so they need to keep that at 1 point. With Hibs playing Rangers next. So yeah, listen, at this moment in time they're winning 2-1. Like I said, the fans will be absolutely delighted now after the start they made.
It's going to be a tough task for Andy Halliday though if he's in on Monday. Do you give goal of the weekend to someone who does it against you?
Well, you've got to be honest. There's no point coming on the radio if you lie. You've got to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
You think so,
Yeah,
Mark?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, you cheat. I've got it first hand from you. You cheat.
I helped you out.
You should have seen his face. Oh, it was brilliant.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this is referring to a See What You See video that we put on our social channels during the week. It was a couple of pictures. You had to make a footballing name out of it. Marvin had done the challenge the day before Gordon, and Gordon duped him. He phoned him up and pretended that he had done it as well. What did you make of that last one? And Marvin gave the answer away, and Gordon.
I could not believe how quickly you actually just said it though. You were rapid.
Yeah.
When I saw the video, I was like, he's not even played along. He's like, David Ware.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Oh, it was
I love
cute.
some of the comments though. People were like saying, "Oh, it's so straightforward, David Ware," and I'm like, "Come on."
Your phone battery went down. You phoned that many people.
Neil
No one's
Lennon
picking
is
up.
out for the first time to just discuss one or two things with the officials. Just try and get a sort of mutual understanding of the decision-making process.
Have we get any goals in the Championship, Gordon? I know Hamilton and Wraith and obviously
Morton, Thistle,
yeah.
not a goal.
Didn't take long, did it, for Neil Lennon to come out and have a word with the officials?
He's just listening. He's just asking what's going on. Nothing wrong with that, is there?
Do you reckon he get his first booking today?
I asked him about this during the week. He said he's mellowed.
I'll play paddle with him. He's definitely not mellowed. No chance.
No?
His paddle partner will tell you that he is not mellowed at all.
He said he's mellowed over the years, and he said that he was impressed with Scott Brown's conduct on the pitch, on the touchline, a couple of weeks ago when he went to watch.
He's quite relaxed, Scott Brown, though. He actually is. He is very, very relaxed on the sideline. Doesn't really get that involved, but Lenny,
having hairs helped him.
I think it has, keeping the heat in.
Yeah, your old pal Mark Wilson hasn't found the breakthrough either.
Still 0-0.
Oh, see, it's Marvin's pal Dougie Emery against your pal Mark Wilson.
Dougie Emery's 150th game as well.
Was it?
Yep, 150th game in charge.
Oh, I was trying to work out the connection. Livingston, wasn't it?
Yeah, Livingston, yeah.
Yeah, Dougie's a good lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Good lad.
He's another one that picks up a booking or two.
Him and Scott Brown went head to head, didn't they?
Yeah, well, Dougie was trying to attack him with his belly. Have you seen him? Dougie's like pushing his belly out towards him. Honestly, what a guy.
Get another goal.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's a 30th of the season for Daisen Maeda. Kuhn breaks down the right, and there he is again, slipped across a very typical Celtic goal, if you like. Daisen Maeda with the finish, 30 for the season, only 2 yards out as many of them are, but that's because Celtic worked them over and over again, and this could get ugly for the Jambos.
150th game for Daisen Maeda in a Celtic shirt, and 2 goals and working his way towards a hat-trick. This game will not end in a draw.
No, exactly. Look, you probably, if you're on that Hearts bench, you're looking, thinking, we've not done a lot wrong, but the game's already away from us. And that's what Brendan Rodgers was looking for, wasn't it? He was looking for a big response, and they've certainly given him. And Maeda getting 2 goals. Can he get the hat-trick?
It's just a challenge to find more things to say, though, about Daisen Maeda.
Yeah, honestly, it's breathtaking. That's the thing, you run out of words to say. His agent will be rubbing his hands together, knowing that these contract negotiations are going to take place very soon as well. But
tonight,
how important is he to Celtic, though? They need to do everything within their power to keep him, a massive player. And as I said, with Kyogo going, he just allowed him to step up another level.
I know human nature, you just can't allow for that, but he seems to get so much joy out of playing for Celtic, and the family get so much pleasure in him being at Celtic, and you wonder, are we all too cynical now? We think, what does that matter? Maybe it does matter to him. Maybe he genuinely likes playing for Celtic.
Oh, 100% it matters. Like you said, he's always playing with a smile on his face. He enjoys putting the ball in the back of the net. He enjoys putting on the shirt. No doubt about it. I'm not for 1 second saying that he's going to try and walk out of Celtic Football Club. I just think we've all been there as players. Sometimes you want to try something different at some point in your career. And listen, careers don't last forever. It's a short, as I said, career in football.
Chance for Andy Halliday, he just couldn't quite get on the end of it, and Motherwell haven't created a lot as well, so they need to try and do more of that. We've got a goal in our featured championship match.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
First blood, Scott Brown, Conor McLennan with the goal, Dylan Wattrett low cross, edge of the box, then there's the low shot deflected in, and it's 1-0 to Ayr.
Well, it's a good time to score, just before half time. It'll be interesting if it goes in 1-0, how Lenny approaches his half time team talk. He might be playing paddle with you next Saturday if he keeps this up. But I'll be disappointed with that, especially away from home. You've got to keep it tight. I think Neil Lennon for Dunfermline was a brilliant appointment, right? I really do. Great to see him back in the game. But when you get down to that level, you're sitting second bottom of the league. I watched them against Raith Rovers and I thought they were dreadful. Now, everybody goes, well, Neil Lennon's in the dressing room, but he can't go over a white line and play for them. No. He can try and G them up, he try and give them a bit of confidence, he uses his experience. I just don't think they're good enough.
The story of their season in terms of goal scoring, 29 games they played before today, 26 goals. Don't even average a goal a game.
So it's Ayr who take the lead in that one. Just another point, Gordon, than the Celtic goal set up by Nicholas Kuhn. So that's his 8th league assist of the season. It takes him to the top of the Scottish Premiership assist charts. He's obviously got more in other competitions. Important for him to try and I suppose he did set the bar high. It's not like he's been a disaster in recent weeks, but just fallen off it slightly.
Yeah, he has. He's taken a dip in form, and that happens throughout the season. I found it very strange, Gordon. I was playing golf this morning. I was speaking to a couple of guys that are going to a Celtic game, and they were actually thinking, right, okay, we'll leave Kuhn out. I'm thinking, he's one of your best players, and you're bouncing back against Hearts. Look, he's taking a dip, but you're quite rightly say he's set such a high standard. I would never leave him out my starting 11. I think he's a talented player.
We're in the additional time stage of the day. The first half, 4 added Pittodrie, 2 added Paisley. So let's round this off, Hugh, whilst we can.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Before this season, the last 3 players to score for either Celtic or Rangers under an interim manager were James Tavernier, Abdallah Sima, Scott Arfield. For Celtic, Karamoko Dembele, Christopher Ayr, and Odsonne Edouard.
Very, very difficult. Well done.
Get that?
Yeah, a few people got it. Well done if you got it right. Congratulations to Scott McDougall in 3rd, Michael Smith in 2nd, and Igaman Prop was the winner of the first half teaser, and we'll do a Who Am I later on in the second half. So we're in additional time, still 4 to go. plus stoppage time at Easter Road. I think they were out late in the capital, and there was also a minute's silence for former Hibs player John Fraser as well. So Fraser Wishart is going to be last for sure, and David Friel, Dave Galloway, the rest of them are counting down. No VAR of course in the Championship, so we should hear from Roger Hannah pretty soon. That Ayr United goal just before the break really changing things. It means we do have a goal in all of our featured games. It's the second goal now though in the Championship, because Wraith have taken the lead away to Hamilton Accies. Dylan Easton just before the interval there. However, I forgot, a big delay due to a Connor Young injury at Somerset, so we might not hear from Roger too soon anyway.
The fans will go after
John Rankin.
Yeah, it's I feel for John. We've seen it before, but look, they've still got time. The second half bounce back.
Half time, Paisley. Let's hope the wind has died down a bit so we can hear David Friel.
Yeah, it's not died down. Gordon, good game. Half time, St Mirren 2, Kilmarnock 0. St Mirren control, deserving of the lead. Kelly really struggling. Derek McInnes, he's absolutely soaking. He's been out in the touchline for the entire 45 minutes. He always gets a result against St Mirren, but his team will need to produce something special in the second half to get something from this one. St Mirren had the win behind them for the 45 minutes. They came out flying from kick-off. They were 2-0 up within 9 minutes as they pretty much blew Kilmarnock away. Caelan Boyd once claimed the opener in 6 minutes. He took a Jonah Ayunga pass, fired a low shot into the bottom corner from 20 yards. Good strike, maybe Robbie McCrory should have done better. 3 minutes later it was 2-0. Ayunga again burst down the side of the box. This time he tangled with Lewis Neal. It didn't look to be much in the tackle, but VAR backed him up. Roland Adu took the penalty and sent Robbie McCrory the wrong way. Kelly were all over the place for that opening period. They did eventually settle, and they should have pulled a goal back in 24 minutes. Liam Donnelly's cross was perfect for Liam Pollock. He was unmarked in the box, but he headed over with Zach Hemming well beaten. St Mirren, they've still been a threat. Killian Phillips had a low shot save before the break. Kilmarnock had a few corners, but St Mirren have dealt with it well. They will probably feel they can see this game out. Kelly will have the win behind them for the second half, but St Mirren in control. Half time, St Mirren 2, Kilmarnock 0.
Half time, Celtic Park. Here's Gabriel.
It's Celtic 3, Hearts 0 here. Hearts haven't been poor by any stretch of the imagination, and it's been far from vintage Celtic, but there's been one main difference. Dyson Maeda, the player of the year in waiting, has 2 of Celtic's 3 and had a hand in the other. The rain swirling round the arena at the start of the game, and Hearts started as the better side. Celtic looking shaky at the back, but the game was opened up by that man, and what a revelation he's been through the middle. He scored a typical striker's goal 17 minutes in. Cal McGregor back in the side, a brilliant pass in behind the Hearts defence. Maeda was always going to win the race against the centre half, and he slipped it past Craig Gordon. A few minutes later, Nicholas Kuhn cut in from the right, lobbed a ball over the defence, and Maeda was in behind again. This time a glancing header against the post. Came off, but Jota was there to smash it home into the empty net. And then Maeda got his 30th of the season just before the interval. Kuhn again driving down this right wing all the way. A lovely ball across to his teammate, who couldn't miss from 2 yards. The Maeda song ringing around this stadium, Gordon. I mean, Hearts have been fine, but they've just not taken their chances. Lewis Nielsen was a close range effort from a corner. Good save on the league debut from Viliami Sinisalo. James Wilson also had a decent opportunity, but he put it wide. And Critchley's men have just been brutally punished by Maeda and Celtic. It could get ugly in the second half, Gordon, and I'm not talking about the weather. Celtic 3, Hearts 0 at the break.
Half time, Pittodrie. Dave Galloway's there.
Yeah, at the interval it's Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 1. A really keenly contested one, this, with some crunching challenges going in. Really good start by Aberdeen. Ockles fizzed in a cross, and Keskinen's shot rippled the side netting, but Motherwell went ahead on 5 minutes. Payton's cross from the left headed in off the underside of the bar from Slattery. Balcom made a very good block from Keskinen's effort after a lovely through ball by Nisbet, but the host equalised after 13 minutes following a corner kick. The ball was laid back to Dorrington, who lashed home via a deflection. Balcom came to the visitors' rescue, turning Nisbet's pile driver from the edge of the box behind for a corner. The Dons dominating play, putting some good attacking moves together, and they deservedly went 2-1 up after 37 minutes. A magnificent curling effort by Clarkson from the edge of the box. It all started started with a well-worked corner kick routine. Some lovely passing set Clarkson up to score in spectacular style. The Steelmen hanging in there to their credit. Halliday almost got an opening. He almost got through but couldn't quite get his shot away. However, the home side well on top, playing some excellent football, and it was almost 3-1 as half-time beckoned when Ockel's shot was spilled by Balcom. Good entertaining stuff in the first half, and it's Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 1.
It's also half-time in the Championship. Roger Hanna's at Somerset Park.
Yeah, it's Ayr United 1, Dunfermline 0 at the break. Horrendous conditions down here, Gordon, but fair play to the players because they have shown the type of endeavour which underpinned the playing careers of their managers. Scott Brown and Neil Lennon have really given it all. Dunfermline with the wind at their back started brightly. A series of corners and then UNO2 off target with a right foot shot from 20 yards. Took here a bit of time to get into the game. Captain Ben Dempsey, he flashed a volley wide from outside the box, and then it was a bit of a delay. Connor Young recalled to the starting lineup by Lennon today, injured on the far side. There was a long delay. It looked a nasty injury. He left on a stretcher to be replaced by Ephraim Yeboah. It didn't really stop Dunfermline in their tracks. Joe Chalmers, he was off target from 30 yards, just trying to harness the strong elements. But the longer the half went on, the more Ayr came into it. It was a great pass by Jamie Murphy to release Dylan Watchwood down the right hand side, and his cross headed clear by Chalmers. Watchwood's next cross, it led to an acrobatic shot by Curtis Main, but it struck Jeremiah Chilakoa Mullen and flew behind for a corner. Ayr were finally building pressure. Dempsey was off target again with another snapshot, and then in 43 minutes to go came a quick break. Watford released again on the right. His low cross only cleared as far as the edge of the box, and Conor McLennan stepped onto it. A powerful right foot shot. It took a bit of a deflection and flew past Toby Oluwayemi and the Dunfermline goal. There was almost an instant equaliser. Tasha Oakley Booth busting down the right hand side, his cut back from the byline, somehow smuggled out to the 6-yard box by the Ayr defence. But in the added time at the end of the first half, it was almost 2-0 to the honest men. They won a free kick in the corner of the box after Yeboah pulled down Dempsey. Scott McMahon curled it, hits it left footed, inches past the far post. Ayr will the elements in the second half. Scott Brown will fancy it. Ayr United 1, Dunfermline 0.
And we have the half-time whistle at Easter Road as well. Fraser Wishart's there.
Yeah, Aberdeen 2, St Johnstone 0, all going as Hibs fans had hoped before the game. To be honest, it's been a bit of a stroll, deservedly 2 up, could have been more. St Johnstone contributing to their own downfall, giving the ball away too easily, and especially for the 2 goals. That said, you have to give Hibs credit. They've played well in this first 45. The pattern of the game from kick-off, as predicted, mainly played the St Johnstone half. Hibs pressing high, no real chances till the 18th minute. Barry Douglas gave the ball away 25 yards from his own goal, then lunged into a tackle with Martin Boyle. The ball broke to the striker, and his shot was saved well with his feet by Andy Fisher. The Hibs kept it alive, and he fed Junior Hoyle on the left, and he cut inside and curled a beautiful finish, top left-hand corner. They'll take a good goal to beat that one as goal of the weekend. Brilliant finish by the winger. Hibs in momentum, looking for a second. Chris Cann, a couple of great runs in behind, didn't quite fall for him in the penalty box. St Johnstone, the closest they came to scoring in the first half was when Jason Holt drove the ball across the 6-yard box. Rocky Bashir just swung his left leg at it. He was relieved to hit his shin and out for a corner, but it should have been 2 in 28 minutes. Albeit a lovely cross on the left. Kuharevic, 4 yards out, volleyed the ball over the bar. He should have gone with his head, I thought, but then it was 2-0 a minute later. St Johnstone again gave the ball away 25 yards from their own goal. Martin Boyle onto it. This time he's 1-1 with the goalkeeper. Cool finish past Fisher into the corner of the net. The direction of the game continued towards St Johnstone goal. Hibs passing the ball well. No real chances, and St Johnstone offering absolutely nothing in attack. Hardly near Jordan Smith's goal after the second goal. And in fact, they had no shots at goal in the first 45 minutes. I think the hardest part for Hibs might be keeping it going. It's almost been too easy for them, and it'll be a remarkable turnaround if St Johnstone actually get back into this game. Hibs have been so dominant. Half-time at Easter Road to Aberdeen 2, St Johnstone 0.
And we'll do a full round-up of the half-time scores next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Looking to sell your Volvo? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
Don't miss the fun and have a dabble with your digital dabbers at takeabreakbingo.co.uk. B-I-N-G-O. With hundreds of top games like Fluffy Favourites, Deal or No Deal and Clover Rollover, a great community to chat with, and free to enter prize draws every Wednesday. What's not to love? B-I-N-G-O. Start the fun at takeabreakbingo.co.uk. Decencies apply. 18+. BeGambleWare.org.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time break almost over. We've got some interesting scorelines in the making. Gabriel's at Celtic Park. Gabriel, Hearts must be wondering what they can do to limit this, because they've not been bad. They're 3-0 down. How have Celtic's new boys, if you like, played? And by that I mean Sinisalo, new in goal, Nawrocki, new to starting consecutive games. How have they been?
Yeah, Sinisalo have been good when he's been called upon. That save from Lewis Nielsen early on when the game was at 0-0 and Hearts were on top. So a fine save for him and a fine debut in the league so far. Nawrocki as well made a few challenges. Happy with the ball at his feet. It'd be interesting to see if Rodgers does persist with him for the rest of the second half. Does Trost come on, and does Nawrocki keep his place? It's almost a trial for him these next few games, these final 9 or 10 games of the season. Just in terms of Hearts as well, Gordon, they've come out early. One change for them, James Wilson coming off, Callum Nieuwenhof coming into the midfield, so it'll probably push Shankland forward a little bit. Nieuwenhof drop into the middle of the park. But Celtic are exactly as they were in the first half. Dayson made a show here. He's scored 2, created another. 3-0 Celtic. Will it be more in the second half? We're about to find out.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get advice on keeping infections and viruses away when school returns.
Damage limitation for Hearts in the second half. I would suggest Dyson Maida, the crowd inside Celtic Park, will be willing him to get his hat-trick and perhaps have a standing ovation, go off and be saved for those games to come. Celtic are on course for a win over St Johnstone next weekend, and then Kilmarnock at Celtic Park the weekend after that, which will be title winning day for Celtic should they win that match. For Hearts, it's a real bad day at the office, and they'll be hoping not to concede many more goals, because Neil Critchley has come. It's not vintage Celtic according to Gabriel in the first half, and yet they are 3 up. How embarrassing is that for you?
The real winners just now are St Mirren. If you're looking at top 6 place, Hearts losing, can't see them coming back at all. Motherwell struggling up at Pittodrie, and St Mirren cruising against Kilmarnock. So by 5 o'clock tonight, I think that league table will take a different shape to it.
Yeah, it's all going that way, isn't it? I just think from Hearts' point of view, they'll be happy to go up the road now with a 3-0 defeat without having to play this second half. It's a difficult one for them. Like, they have been played well in spells, so Neil Critchley would be probably frustrated that they are 3-0 down. But listen, Celtic can do that to anybody, and it's one of those games you just tick off, and the remaining 2 games, try and get yourself back into that top 6.
Yes, the second halves are starting now. Big games all across the country, and no one, apart from Celtic, is out of sight yet. I know Kilmarnock have that 2-goal advantage, but you never know. If you're St Mirren, have that 2-goal advantage. If Kilmarnock could score early, they've made a change at the break. I think they've gone to a back 3, so David Watson comes on for Brad Lyons, and they are in that back 3 already. Aberdeen with a chance. Palaversa's shot blocked by Lennon Miller. Even in the case of David Watson, Marvin, it maybe kind of underlines just how it's been a bit of a strange season for Kilmarnock. He's the reigning PFA Scotland Young Player of the Year. He was the best young player in the country last season, according to his peers, and he doesn't start that many games for Kilmarnock.
Yeah, he's been more of a substitute, hasn't he, of recent, and it's been a difficult one, because young players, you always speak about them playing, but when a team isn't doing well, you normally go with experience to try and get out of that little bit of a rut, and Kilmarnock just haven't managed to do that. Sometimes it can be a hindrance as well for young players playing in a team that's really, really struggling. But like you said, a fantastic season last season, and then this season he's found himself as a substitute. But that's football for you, So for him, from his own development point of view, mentally you'll understand that that's football. There's a lot of ups and downs, and you just have to get on with it. But hopefully from a Kilmarnock point of view, he can come on and make an impact in the second half.
Yeah, he tends to use him as a substitute. He's a good player, a good prospect, as you quite rightly say. He's gone Young Player of the Year. I think Derek's just protecting him from a struggling Kilmarnock side, and obviously the results are showing that. But it's a big second half for Derek. I think the fans will certainly not be happy, especially the way they've been playing. St Mirren, if they can get the next goal, then it's game over. Kilmarnock need the next goal in this game.
Could he be under pressure, do you think, Derek?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think if the way the form's gone, You fancy St Johnstone automatically. If Kilmarnock get into that playoff position, then I think Derek will come under pressure. Yeah.
Well, that'd be a strange one, wouldn't it? You know, he enjoyed such a sustained career in management, done exceptionally well, won a trophy for Aberdeen, went to Kilmarnock and everyone thought it was an inspired move, but this season he's never got off the ground.
But there's no excuses, because you've got to look at his squad. He's got a very good squad. He's been backed by the board. It has been a disappointing season, and he cannot afford, especially the way they're going about their business, they cannot afford to drop into that playoff position.
There are a number of people who spoke about Derek as a potential Rangers manager, also spoken about frequently as a potential Scotland manager. You know, he doesn't want on his CV relegated. So the coming games and this one that's still being played, very important.
A triple change for St Johnstone. They know I said no one else was out of sight, but Hibs probably are as well, just given the different form of the team. So Curtis, Wright and Kirk all off, Duke McKenna, Stephen and Kimpioka on. It's going to take some comeback there, and there's a chance there for St Mirren to completely put it to bed. Richard Taylor, he's about 3 yards out and he hits the bar. Stevie Robinson's got his head in his hands, he has to score that, he doesn't, and it just leaves that little glimmer.
Yeah, like what you're describing there, Gordon, that's an absolute sitter, and that does put the game to bed, there's no doubt about it. So Stephen Robinson will be a bit disappointed with that, especially after half time. You got that early goal, you go 3-0 up, it's a cruise from there. So you just wonder if that'll come back to bite them if Kilmarnock get the next goal.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of luck that Kilmarnock need and a shot in the arm maybe, but from Derek McInnes' point of view, he'll be saying, listen, we just spoke about keeping it tight, getting the next goal, and then with 15 minutes to play, giving ourselves a chance, and you're almost 3-0 down. So yeah, Steve Robinson might have his hands, or his head in his hands rather. I'm sure Derek McInnes was saying a few choice words.
From 3 yards?
I've done it.
Have you, mate?
Yeah, wasn't the best wasn't the best
in front of goal.
Just headed it straight up onto the bar. Anywhere else, it's in the back of the net, man. You were a goal scorer though, so those sorts of things come naturally to you.
I'm not going to argue that fact with you there. I certainly didn't miss from 3 yards. That was probably my distance.
Who were you playing for when you had this misfortune?
Burnley. Do you know, I actually did it twice. No word of a lie, I did it twice. When I remember literally the second one, I was underneath the bar and the ball came in and someone jumped across me, so I've obviously taken my eye off it and it's just hit me on the head straight off the bar and then bounced back out as well. I was like, oh man, how was your luck?
And you wonder how you ended up at Hibs.
Leighton Orient first.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's all downhill from there. Oh man.
Motherwell have started the half brightly. There was an Andy Halliday corner, I think. It just went through everyone. Tom Sparrow down the right hand side, he just drags it wide, so much better from Michael Vimmer's side in the second half.
Well, they need a positive start in the second half, Gordon. They need to get back into this game. Look, there's still an opportunity. You would take a draw. There's no doubt Motherwell will go up there and take a point. So there's still a bit of work to do. I think when you look at the games, the next goal in a lot of them, apart from Celtic obviously, is very, very important.
Well, I do the teaser to reduce the Motherwell fans' levels of anxiety.
Just give us a wee second on the teaser. Thinking about making a tweak.
Are you?
I think the people out there are so good at them. Just going to tweak one or two things.
Make it a little bit harder.
Well, they'll still get it straight away. It's impossible to stop them. They're the knowledge out there is outstanding. But yeah, Motherwell have started the second half well. So we will see if they can get themselves back into it. For Celtic, it's very comfortable so far, or certainly the scoreline is. You wonder then, Gordon, when it becomes about getting Adamida on, maybe trying to get him a goal, all that stuff that you usually look at with the squad overall.
Yeah, they'll have a plan. They'll look at players that need some game time. They're comfortable, they're 3-0. Hearts are never coming back into this game. Brendan Rodgers will probably give it an hour, 10-15 minutes, and then start to make the changes. Maeda probably will come off. Ida goes on, and you look at the wide areas, you look at midfield. McGregor's just back. Does he get the full 90 minutes? But he's got scope now to say, right, I can make changes comfortably when I want.
I want to be in the same studio as Marvin Bartley when Yang comes on.
That is what we were waiting for, Hugh. I'm really interested to see what he does with the substitutes, though, especially after the back of the performance against Rangers. Is he going to be more reluctant to make changes? Whereas, basically saying it's not a given that if you're on the bench, you're going to come on and making sure players kind of have to work for it. But I am interested. Like you said, McGregor just coming back from injury is probably one that he will want to change. And listen, Yang's a game changer, Hugh, so he'll be on that pitch sooner or later, mate.
I'll never forget. I've kept it in the 20 quid Nokia. I've kept the text. He's a player, that Yang. He's a player.
He's a new man, though. He's dabbling with Alexa these days.
Yeah.
I should have maybe phrased that a bit better.
Yeah.
He has an Alexa. He is using his Alexa.
If I said Gene Autry to you, would you know who I was talking about?
Nope.
If you said who?
Gene Autry.
Absolutely not.
No, I don't know that. Who's she?
Did you never go to cowboy films when you were a boy?
Yeah.
Gene
Randolph
Autry.
Scott.
Yeah, Gene Autry was a cowboy as well.
Oh yeah, I love cowboys.
I was
Cowboys
playing
and
Gene
Indians.
Autry this morning with Alexa.
Nice.
Yeah.
Things you do in your mornings before coming into here?
Yeah. Home on the Range by Gene Autry.
Oh my goodness.
Just imagine him with his cowboy hat on.
Doing the line dancing up and down the hall.
Papagaye's header saved, Jensen with the cross. It was quite an easy one for Ellery Balcom. Quite a good second half, that, because Motherwell have started brightly, but Aberdeen do look like they could score again, and if they did, you'd imagine that game would be done and dusted there. We'll have the Rangers team imminently, within seconds maybe, even, to be maybe overly dramatic about it, but certainly within minutes we'll have the Rangers team. We didn't even debate the formation earlier. Will they stick with a back three?
I think so.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I don't see why not. It's a
very different type of opposition to Celtic and Fenerbahce, though.
Yeah, yes, but I think that the back three suits them. I really do. Why would you've just come off, okay, you can look at the Fenerbahce game, that they lost it, but they still won in penalties. And Celtic, they were excellent, I thought, at times, especially in the first half. So I would be surprised if he changes it back to back four.
No, but that's what I mean. Those are the type of opponent that you might kind of want to have more of the ball, and then you counter them. Was it the same against Dundee?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you find a formation that your players are comfortable. He doesn't need to play with the two guys that are really wide. He can play for into out, which I think Tierney has been really excellent at. So yeah, look, I might be wrong, but I think he'll stick to the three.
With M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Mirren 3, Kilmarnock 0, and it's Caelan Boyd once again, his second of the afternoon. He was out concussed. He's taken another ball in the face today, and he scored a goal either side of it. He is having quite the time of it. It was a sort of corner, it cleared to the edge of the box. He just drills it low through the bodies, and any hopes Kilmarnock had of a comeback have been extinguished. It is 3-0 to St Mirren.
And therefore Derek has to look about him and see who picks up points or drops points. Ross County play tomorrow. Marvin will be at that game. Ross County a home win tomorrow, and they go 6 away from Derek McInnes, and all of a sudden you become isolated.
Let's do this, Hugh.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Victor Wanyama and Martin Boyle. I have been managed by Steve Bruce, and I have over 50 caps for my country. Who am I? Played alongside Victor Wanyama and Martin Boyle, managed by Steve Bruce, won 50 caps for my country. Who am I?
Oh, not a lot of information. I do think you can get it. I think we're pointing you in the right direction. Marvin Bartley looks confused. You've not done many of these on a Saturday. You get used to the sort of format, to the formula that you have to go about to piece it all together.
It's like
you got it?
No, not yet, but eventually will.
When you see the answer.
Well, I used to cheat, I cheated all the time. I found ways round of being honest. As you could tell with your phone call the other night.
That's a difficult one.
Where are we? 56 or so gone in the game at Celtic Park, and we're getting to that stage in most of the game, slightly staggered. We're going to speak to Andrew McLean very soon. He's poised and ready at Dens Park to give us the team news, because the Rangers team is out, so we'll take a look and see what formation, what personnel Barry Ferguson has decided to go with for the game against Dundee. We've been talking all week about this being maybe the type of challenge Rangers really need to go and show that they can do. Not been a problem in Europe under previous managers either, but the domestic games, these games were their favourites. Maybe even psychologically, what does that do? We will find out this evening. Let's try Andrew McLean now, who I think has the teams. Andrew?
Yeah, both teams coming off the back of big derby wins before the international break. 3-2 for Rangers at Celtic Park, 4-2 for Dundee at Tannadice. Barry Ferguson's proven he can do it in the big games against the likes of Celtic and Fenerbahce in the early stages of his interim spell in charge, but knows this is a very different type of challenge here at Dens against Dundee. He said it doesn't necessarily need to be pretty and that his players can't be too nice in these types of occasions. It's all about digging in, getting those 3 points with the right attitude. He's sticking with the back five as well. It's proven a success at times. Just the one change, a surprising one as well. Václav Černý not in the squad whatsoever, not something Barry Ferguson mentioned in his pre-match media duties yesterday at all, but he is injured. I'm told it's Hamza Egeman that comes in for him. So it's Jack Butland in goal. It's then going to be a back five of Dujon Sterling, James Tavernier, John Suter, Leon Balogun and Ridvan Yilmaz. Then a midfield three of Nikola Raskin, Conor Barron and Mohamed Diamandi. It's going to be Hamza Egeman in support of Cyril Dessers up top. The substitutes: Kelly, Proper, Cortez, Lawrence Barami, Jefty, Hadji, Rice and Danilo. I'll get the Dundee team to you shortly.
Well, quite easy to pick the headline from that Rangers team, Gordon, one we didn't expect.
Yeah, I think it's a blow for them. He's been in good form, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. But I thought they would stick with his back five. Well, it's a three with his two wing backs probably playing very high up the pitch. Someone
somewhere is typing out a very well formulated joke about how Václav Černý got his injury, Hugh. You know it
without
for sure.
Doubt.
But he's not there, crucially.
Well, it's an interesting one because on a Friday press conference, I think Barry Ferguson did his press on Thursday.
He did, yeah.
So it may have happened on Friday, because if you're doing a press conference Friday, you would say Černý won't make it. So this is something that's happened at Auchenhowie on Friday.
Or an attempt some managers do just to keep it close to your chest anyway, Gordon. It could well be that, you know, Philippe Clement was very open about it and would list everyone off, but you know, some managers just don't, and he might have wanted to give him a last chance.
Yeah, probably. He's obviously not made it. We know that now with the team coming out. Barry will probably explain it after a game, but I think there's enough there for Rangers to go and dominate that game and win that game. I think if they get an early goal, then they'll have a comfortable night.
In a stranger, I think it could help them. And why I say that, I think Ingeman will play up front. I think they'll play with two strikers. So I think they'll just play a 3-5-2 rather than trying to make him play that Černý role. I know he's a massive player for them, but I wouldn't imagine him putting Ingeman in that role and trying to make him do the same things, because I think Černý is quite maverick in terms of doing that. But having two strikers against Dundee could actually help them in this game.
Do you think they need any help?
I don't know. I think that Dundee lose too many goals.
Oh yeah, I think they'll. I expect them to blow Dundee away. They need to blow Dundee away.
Questions answered about the formation as well, Gordon?
Yeah, look, Barry decided to go with that. He changed it. I think it's worked, and it's quite interesting. Will Tavernier stay the right centre back there? I think he's been excellent since he's went in there. I really do. I think he reads the game very, very well indeed. It allows the two wing backs to get up the pitch very, very high. So I wasn't surprised, especially away from home. I think that the extra defender there helps him, no doubt.
Without Černý anyway, you couldn't change it, could you?
No.
You wouldn't have anyone to play on that side. So maybe his hand was forced, like Hugh said, if the injury did happen yesterday, meaning that he had to play the back three. But I agree with you. I think they look a lot better that way, and I probably expect Tavernier to play right wing back, to be honest, especially if we're playing with two strikers. There's quality of ball into the box. Sterling to go in.
I'll be interested to see how that lines up. I like Tavernier in there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But what it does, it takes away from his delivery down the right hand side. But it's good options for him.
Yeah, slight hamstring injury for Černý, picked up on international duty, presumably. So we'll see what that looks like going forward.
They don't want any problems with Černý with Athletic Bilbao coming up, because first leg Ibrox, Černý arguably your main man that night. You don't want him not to be there.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Mirren 4. Kilmarnock 0. It's another low shot again. It's Mark O'Hara, and this is getting ugly for Kilmarnock. You would not have expected this.
No, Derek McInnes doesn't normally suffer embarrassments, but this is now borderline embarrassing, and adds a layer of concern for Kilmarnock and where they are in the league. And I repeat, if Ross County win tomorrow, they move 6 points away from Kilmarnock. Therefore it's Kilmarnock, Dundee and St Johnstone in the mix. And Derek McInnes had better hope that it's as easy as we think it will be for Rangers tonight at Dens Park, because if his old pal Tony Docherty gets anything, the tension rises. But this is borderline embarrassing.
You wonder what he's going to come out after a game, because he came out the last time, had a dig at his players. He was probably looking for that reaction, as Marv said there. As a player and the manager comes out and publicly gives you a bit of criticism, you're hoping that you're going to respond to that. Obviously they've certainly not responded this afternoon. I keep going back to it. I know that everybody rates Derek McInnes a very good manager, but I think that's starting to come under a little bit of pressure at Rugby Park.
Motherwell players are not happy. Papa Gay, who was booked in the first half, and it was probably one of those upper end yellow cards, if you like. He's now kind of left an arm on the head of Dan Casey as they've challenged for a ball. Other referees might have gone for a second yellow, not on this occasion. Callum McGregor off, Paulo Bernardo on, 7 weeks out since that Wraith game. He is back.
That's all Hearts need to see, isn't it? Bernardo coming on, been out for 7 weeks.
Well, we called it with the substitutions. We did say, and to be fair, McGregor usually plays every game, every minute when he's fit. But I'm not surprised at that substitution. Delighted for Celtic for the fact that Bernardo's back for them. I think he's a big player. I think they miss him. So it'll be interesting to see how more substitutes are made in the coming 10-15 minutes.
I'm surprised that he's only made one so far. You know, the fresh impetus.
Yeah. You tend to find that because the game's away from Hearts, they'll probably sit deep. They'll just get everybody behind the ball and make it very difficult. Yeah, a bit of freshness. I'm sure Brendan Rodgers will use his substitutes very shortly.
Like I said earlier, I think it is a reminder, Hugh, to the players that just because you're on the bench for Celtic doesn't mean you're going to get on. If you're given an opportunity like somewhere against Rangers and you don't take it, then you'll sit and watch the team. Because like you said, I think on a normal week, by 60-65 minutes, you'd have probably seen 2 or 3 subs at least coming onto the pitch.
Again, against Rangers, he had 5 subs. He could put on. He only put on 2.
Well, Ida came on as well, didn't he? It was at half time Ida came on and didn't really impact it.
No.
Was he on that early?
But I sometimes think it's Brendan Rodgers' way of looking up to the director's box and saying bench, not strength and depth.
Victor Wanyama's come on for Dunfermline. There we go. What a story that is.
Header. I hope he scores, that would be class.
Yeah.
He's replaced Chris Hamilton of Dunfermline, has come off to make way for Victor Wanyama.
He's gone into midfield then.
Neil Lennon has been booked by referee Ian Snedden.
What did I say earlier?
He told me this week he was mellowed.
Yeah.
And he gives the linesman a wee thumbs up for grassing on him.
One game, one booking. What a man, honestly.
See, it drags you back in.
And Davy Martindale to come on Tuesday.
Oh, imagine those two on the sidelines.
Oh, is that East End Park? Where is that?
Yes, I think most of their games are at home. I think they've only got 1 or 2 away. Neil Lennon. Right, go on, Hugh, remind us of your teaser.
I have played alongside Victor Wanyama and Martin Boyle. I've been managed by Steve Bruce, and I have over 50 caps for my country. Who am I?
Okay, some good wrong answers coming in here to help you along. Will, Scott McDougall and Gordon Dalziel, amongst others, have all gone for Jackson Irvine.
That was a great shout on it.
Yeah, but unfortunately not right.
He just missed Steve Bruce at Hull. So it's not Jackson Irvine.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Mirren 5. Kilmarnock 0. Declan John, new contract, new deal at the club this week, marks it with a goal, and it is a serious goal for Kilmarnock to lose. This game was beyond them a long time ago, but 5-0, a Derek McInnes side losing 5-0 to a team that they would consider themselves on a par with.
Yeah.
That is quite something. Declan John scores 5-0 St Mirren.
No longer borderline embarrassing, officially embarrassing, and there's a long way to go. It could get worse. So it's a watershed moment. It makes you look at Kilmarnock now in an entirely different light and wonder if they have the stuff there to avoid the playoffs. The St Johnstone will go down that automatically, I think, but can Kilmarnock avoid the playoffs?
How is Neil Lennon's mood now?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Ayr 2, Dunfermline 0, and it is Jamie Murphy. Kyle Benedictus just gave the ball straight to him in the box. He lifts it over the keeper. Kyle Benedictus had his head in his hands. He knows the mistake. Jamie Murphy, experienced campaigner, took full advantage, and that game might just be beyond Victor Wanyama and Scott and Neil Lennon. Sorry.
Yeah, the only plus is I think Hamilton are still losing, Gordon.
2-0 down now.
2-0 down. So that's the only plus for him. Look, I said he'll give the players a lift, of course he will, but when you go for that white line, you've got to produce, and unfortunately for Neil, his team's not producing. I didn't fancy.
You've not picked out the main result from the Championship. Partick Thistle are winning away at Morton.
Oh no,
Jimmy, no, that's your friend you're talking about.
Living with him. You'll actually think he's a top coach now. Honestly, initials will be getting his initials printed on his suits.
Thistle fans have been contacting me to say they are impressed with his coaching.
He might be at Kilmarnock soon.
Well, clear your Saturdays for the next couple of years then. Yang is getting stripped. Hugh, you'll be pleased to know.
Here we go. It's business time.
I've shown him the text. I've kept it since that night in Paisley.
I hope he comes on and scores. I would love that. Absolutely love that.
I'd need to phone a taxi.
Ida as well coming on. So Yang and Ida. Celtic 3-0 up. This game was done at half time, and it's sometimes inevitable that it just peters out a bit in the second half. Well, we look at Hearts change at the break. They take James Wilson off, Nieuwenhof on. That becomes about just not conceding anymore, doesn't it?
Well, exactly. You know, don't want it to go to 4-5-0. You know, that's the last thing they want to happen. And it's one of those, as I said at half time, just see the game out. You know, if they take a 3-0 defeat, then it's a 3-0 defeat. But Yang and Adam Ida will have something to say about that. They want to come on the pitch and impact it.
Well, Ida scored midweek for the Republic of Ireland, and you know, he needs to look sharper for Celtic. He hasn't looked sharp. That was Gordon Dalziel banging his paper down on the desk, throwing his pen away because he still can't get the second half.
I thought I had it there. Ridiculous. Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Again, it's close. So the answer that Gordon Dalziel just gave to the teaser, again, you're falling into the same trap as everybody else. You're clearly all getting there nationality wise. 4 over par, and Gordon Dalziel and others have gone for Scott McDonald. It is not Scott McDonald.
No.
This is a hard one today.
Okay. Maeda and Kuhn off, Ida and Yang on. Another job well done for Dyson Maeda, up to 30 for the season.
But no hat-trick.
He slacked off second half.
Players in the top leagues now don't get hat-tricks because
that's why
they
too many subs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I hated that as a player.
Yeah.
So I used to just get mines before half time.
Well, they could take you off.
Yeah, exactly.
There's only one sub back there anyway.
It's genuinely true though that I fully believe that hat tricks have been hampered by the 5 sub rule.
100%.
There's no doubt about it, because I would like to know how many players get taken off when on 2.
Yeah.
Compared to when there was
how it used to be.
Fewer options. But anyway, Maeda and Kuhn off, Ida and Yang on a triple for Hearts. Shankland, Baningame, Devlin off, Grant, Spittle, Khartoum on.
The state that Kilmarnock are in, Boyd Muntz is the one who is now on 2 goals with the chance of the hat-trick of the day.
Could get it away. Kilmarnock are defending as well.
Yeah,
great chance for him.
Yeah, I always know the scoreline gets, once it gets to a certain point, I feel the desire to go and read the replies on the official club Twitter account of the team that's conceded the 5. And I've just done it, and
Kilmarnock fans not happy.
No, it's not good.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. I like to do that. It makes me feel better. See somebody else is getting the criticism and you're sitting reading it. It makes you feel a wee bit better, doesn't it, Mark?
Oh, brilliant, man.
Kilmarnock fans, get the number ready. Why not? Type it into the phone, save it 01419511025. I'm expecting to hear from you very soon. Caelan Boyd Muntz off as well.
I don't believe it.
Not happening today. Ocean Smith comes on. Stuart Finley's on for the first time in 5 months. Good to see for the Killie fans. Not enough to improve their day, I don't think, but he has been a miss. In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, he has been a miss, definitely. Like you said, on a serious note, it is a really good thing for him getting back on that pitch. 5-0 down though, he's probably thinking I'd rather not be on here. But yeah, listen, they've missed him 100%, and it's good for him to be, full bill of health again.
Right, let's go back to Andrew McLean. He can give us the Dundee team as well. We've already got the Rangers team.
Yeah, just the one change for Dundee. An interesting one as well, one we thought might happen. Lyle Cameron dropping out of the squad altogether with injury. Of course, he signed a pre-contract deal to join Rangers in the summer. Just after he did that in January, Dundee played against Rangers. He wasn't available to play in that game through injury, and the same has happened again today, so he drops out of the squad altogether. Finn Robertson comes in for him, so it's Trevor Carson in goal. The back four: Jordan McGee, Joe Shaughnessy, Aaron Donnelly and Ziad Lakesh. It's then Josh Mulligan, Mo Silla and Finn Robertson across the middle, Sean Adewumi and Scott Tiffany either side of Simon Murray. The substitutes for Dundee today are Kraken, Astley, Riley, Sharp, Samuels, Cometio, Ingram, Garza and Lopez.
Why are you looking at me like that, Hugh Keevins? Lyle Cameron is injured.
All over the city of Glasgow, I hear people saying, aye,
he's injured.
Of course he is.
It's even one of those, if you're a player, aren't you? You make sure that you're just okay. I feel for him. I believe that he is injured as well, but like Hugh said, oh man, here we go.
Cynic, absolute cynic. Yes, no Lyle Cameron, no Rangers bound Lyle Cameron for Dundee against Rangers today. That team should be feeling good about themselves. They were very good in the derby, but they haven't been great this season. So which version turns up today? That'll be the question, Gordon.
Yeah, everybody will be looking to see if they can just kick on from the last couple of results, Gordon. But I think it's a good away game from them. They could have picked a harder one. Dundee lose too many goals. Cameron's probably one of their best players. In fact, he is their best player, I think. He's missing as well to add to that. So I would expect Rangers to go there and look, I've not got to say 4 and 5-0, but I think they'll have a comfortable night.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I can't see anything other than a Rangers win, and if Rangers aren't to win that game, it'll be a big disappointment for them, but it'll also be a shock. As you said there, just defensively for me, Dundee are all at sea at times, and with Rangers having a 2 strikers, I think it will work in their favour 100%.
Well, we spoke about the psychology of it all. Celtic are now 16 points ahead of Rangers once again. Barry Ferguson would far rather that he reduced that total, far rather he kept the smiles on the faces of the Rangers fans ahead of Athletic Bilbao in 10 days' time.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Aberdeen 3, Motherwell 1. It's been a good second half end to end, but that probably wins it for Aberdeen, and it's a great header from Kevin Nisbet. He's been in good goal scoring form, back in the Scotland squad. Might not have got on, but he's carried on where he left off before the break. It's a great ball in by Jensen. He's all alone and bullets it into the corner. Aberdeen 3, Motherwell 1.
Well, that's that then. For Jimmy Tulline, it's been a good afternoon. Started badly, finishes well, and keeps up the pressure on Hibs in third place. Bad day for Hearts, good day for Aberdeen.
I'm just delighted that Jensen's got the assist, because Nicky Devlin was messaging me yesterday and he wasn't being very nice, Hugh. So with Jensen being at right back getting that assist, I'll be sending him a message later on. Yeah. There's a win for me. Sorry guys, Motherwell guys, I know you're hurting right now, but I did say Aberdeen would win that game.
You did. You're doing quite well in the predictions. Yep. You, apart from me, I think.
Yeah, but championship doesn't count. We've been doing the big boys.
Well, you were in it long enough. You're a coach.
Bad shout from you though, thinking that you fancied a draw. You're trying to keep him with Neil Lennon.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be. It's his first game, isn't it? I'll be honest. I've ticked Ayr here, but I just wanted him to get a draw. I wanted him to get a point, but he got the booking that I said he would get. He's just not getting the point I thought he might.
Right. Okay.
Might get the red. Still get time for the red.
You've got time after the final whistle to get a red. I've seen that a couple of times.
So that looks like Aberdeen are done. If Motherwell were to score soon, it would, I'm sure, set up a nervy finish, but hard to imagine from this moment. Still people saying Jackson Irvine on that team. They're still wrong. Gordondale has now got it. So I think we've obviously, it's not an easy question, but we have pointed a bit too much to one nationality, I think. I think that's the problem. So we'll see how you get on in the next few minutes.
The country I'd never wanted to play with. That's all.
Yeah, and you said it earlier on.
Yeah.
Did you tweak it as well? Was that with you hadn't tweaked it? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I was going to say what was a tweet, but
obviously, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Anyway, right, I'm looking around to see if we've got scope for any late drama. I'm not sure we really do.
The drama comes in many forms. A drama
be another St Mirren goal.
Yeah, then a drama becomes a crisis. So that for me is the main area of intrigue, because just about everywhere else it's all done and dusted. But can it actually get worse for Derek McInnes in Paisley?
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see what he comes out and says. As I said, the last time he had a real dig at his players, it's not worked. So I don't think he'll come out with that tactic. But as a manager, and Derek's an experienced manager, sometimes you go out to look at yourself and say, am I getting the best out of them? Am I playing the right system for them? Am I working the right way, preparing them? Because obviously today has been an absolute nightmare for him.
He'll get a lot of stick, so will John Rankin. I didn't tell you Wraith are 3-0 up at Hamilton Accies. That's going to be toxic,
Hamilton
to
at
say
home.
the least. They are at home. That is going to be toxic, because we saw is it the sporting director?
Yeah, Jerry Strain,
getting it tight a few weeks ago as well. And it's getting worse. Partick Thistle still just one up, but Morton, maybe Dougie Emery's side can strike back, because that would be a massive result for Partick Thistle. That would make the cushion 6 points ahead of Wraith.
That would guarantee them fourth.
Yeah, well, it would, because only not guaranteed, but sorry, yes.
They're not going to get caught, are they, from that position?
No, I don't think so.
I think Morton needed to beat them today. Obviously, Wraith are trying to make a fist of it, but I think they're too far behind as well. Massive result for Partick if they can go through and win that one.
We'll keep an eye on those closing stages as well. I think Motherwell are out of it. I think we know Hearts are out of it. Kilmarnock are certainly out of it, as are St Johnstone. So I'm not sure much is going to change in these closing stages. We're not too far away. What about 50 minutes away from kick-off at Dens as well? Quite an interesting omission from the Rangers team, because Václav Černý isn't there, hasn't made it. But Barry Ferguson sticking with that back three, and other than that, pretty close to what's gone before.
Yeah, story of the day in a negative sense is Derek McInnes and Kilmarnock, the collapse thereof. And as I say, they're the team now scheduled to be playing Celtic on what could be title winning day on April 12 at Celtic Park. That's just what you need under these circumstances. So it's going to be a tense approach to the split, and after the split you've got 5 games to save your reputation.
Luke McCowan is coming on for Celtic, along with James Forrest, who has not played since the League Cup final.
Wow.
The 3-3 that went to penalties. You may remember it. We
December
spoke about
15,
it for quite a long time afterwards. That was his last appearance. So
is this only year in 15 or 14 he's not scored? He's not scored this season, has he?
No, I don't think he has.
And he's got that record every year he's scored
every season so far since 2009, 10, I think.
Yeah, he'll be desperate for a goal there. Penalty kick, I'd be taking it.
Ironically, you mentioned that
goal
game,
kick, corners, everything.
December 15, the League Cup final. Again, Dyson Maeda, the winning goal, the winning penalty that took the cup to Celtic Park. It's all part of the composite picture that makes Dyson Maeda the player of the year.
The strength of that squad, though, domestically, like with Forrest obviously now being back as well, and Luke McCowan coming on, Ida, Bernardo, Yang. When you can make 5 substitutes like that, and for the majority of the rest of the league, they're starting week in, week out. So listen, I know what Brendan's doing in terms of, like you're saying, he wants more players brought in maybe for European games, but domestically it's one hell of a squad to choose from.
Yeah, we're in the closing stages. Hearts, I think, will be happy just to get out. Maybe there is still time to grab a consolation, but it wouldn't be more than that. Motherwell trying to come forward, but they look done it as well. Speaking of done, St Johnstone have now played 80 minutes without a single shot at goal.
Oh, that's dreadful, isn't it? He won't be getting carried around the King James tonight, let me tell you.
But they've been playing from the back still, though. Honestly, they'll just stick to it. I've watched them play on a couple of occasions, and they just concede goals and carry on playing the same way, and they don't ever threaten the opposition's goal. They're gone, and it's just who joins him in that playoff spot, isn't it? And I feel sorry for Derek. You mentioned it earlier in terms of coming after his players, and we're speaking about getting a reaction from them. Not only has he not got a reaction, it's gone the other way, and I don't know what you then say to those players in the dressing room after. I think there'll be a lot of finger pointing as well. You lose a game 5-0 and potentially the manager comes after you. I think some players will be saying things back as well. That's the reality of it. And you mentioned it, Gordon. Is he getting the best out of that squad? I'd have to say at this moment in time, I don't believe so. They shouldn't be losing 5-0 to St Mirren without being disrespectful to them either.
Yeah, if Dundee win, of course, Kilmarnock would end the day in the relegation playoffs. So I think the assumption would still be that they'll just stay out of it. But that doesn't really make any Kilmarnock fan feel any better.
Oh no, I mean, come into the season though.
Yeah, sure, no, I was just talking today.
Going into that bottom 6 as well, everyone will fancy playing against Kilmarnock. You used to hate going to Rugby Park because of everything else that went with it on the pitch and stuff. But listen, if you draw them at your ground, you're gonna fancy yourself to get 3 points. It's going to be tight for them.
And would you put it completely beyond Ross County to beat Dundee United at home tomorrow?
No.
And if they do, that would all of a sudden open up a 6 point gap over Kilmarnock. It'd be quite
lots to turn around, isn't it?
Oh, they've got a penalty, Kilmarnock, if that cheers anyone up. Victor Wanyama
scored.
Sent off.
No.
Scottish football will never ever let you down. He's caught in possession, 20 yards out. He brings down the Ayr attacker, straight red card. Victor Wanyama signs for Dunfermline, brought on and given a straight red card about 10 minutes later. This is the place to be, Hugh Keevins.
Oh yeah. We've only got Lenny's red card to come now, and that's the day complete on the bingo card. Astonishing, which of course means that East End Park Tuesday night, Dunfermline versus Livy. No Victor Wanyama.
I could be playing.
That's been a good sign.
19 minutes he was on.
19 minutes.
It might have been for, I think when he sort of goes down, I think he then holds the ball.
Right.
So that would be like denying the goal scoring opportunity with holding the ball.
Maybe the caller was right the other day though. Remember the one that gave us the scout report?
I hope he phones in.
Oh man, just need to clip that up with the red card alongside it.
There is a delay to this Kilmarnock penalty, but Bruce Anderson is going to take it when it's given the go ahead. It seems I'm not sure I can really back this up, but seeing you're 5-0 down, you almost don't even want to score.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No. What I'd do is score, run and grab the ball and run back to that.
Run it back in it, lads.
I don't mean he won't want to score. Sorry, he will. But I think that as a fan, you're like, you know what? Just get off the pitch. Get away.
Yeah.
Forget the one. If they can score from the penalty, he does step up.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Yeah, I don't think it's the start of a comeback, but he goes down the middle and makes it St Mirren 5, Kilmarnock 1.
It's not the start of a comeback, it's too little too late, and it remains a black day for Derek McInnes, Billy Bowie, the Kilmarnock owner, everyone associated with the club, because the horror story remains viable. You could still be in the relegation playoffs.
I think they've got a good chance here. I think they've gone. And I think Marv's right. If when that split comes, you look at Kilmarnock fixtures, I would be really happy to play them because they're conceding goals. They're not playing with any confidence. I don't know what is going on with them because they have got good players, but you've got to have better. You've got to have a bit of character rather than just good players all the time, because you've got to find a way out of the trouble that they're certainly in.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And performance-wise, they're in freefall. And I know some Kilmarnock fans will be like, oh, they drew with Hibs before the international break. As I said, I was at that game and Kilmarnock were waiting to get beat. How they got a draw out of it, I have no idea. It's more down to Hibs actually not being great in front of goal than Kilmarnock playing well. So, yeah, listen, a 5-1 defeat today. And it's just the aftermath of this score. And it's not just this game in isolation. It's where do they go from here? How does Derek pick the players back up? How does everyone make sure they're pulling in the same direction? How do you keep players on side? Because as I said, as players, you always want to blame the management team. As a management team, you can turn around and blame the players. It's not going to be a nice place to be, and they need to find a result out of somewhere.
Last 5 games, 4 defeats, 1 draw, 1 point from a possible 15. Last 5 games. So
it'll feel like a very sharp decline for the Kilmarnock fans. Pretty much a year ago, they beat St Mirren 5-2 at Rugby Park, and that'll seem like a long time ago. I'm scrolling to find the last time St Mirren scored 5 in a league game, and it seems to be quite a while ago. So very impressive day for them. Right, let's round off the teaser, Hugh, whilst we can.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Victor Wanyama while he was still on the park, and Martin Boyle. I have been managed by Steve Bruce, and I have over 50 caps for my country. I am Tom Rogic.
Tom Rogic, well done. If you got it right, loads of you did. In the end, Michael Smith, I think, who's been on the podium twice today. Well done, Michael. Second placed, Andrew Edward. And the winner, first place, the gold medalist, might well be Gordon Dalziel's burner account, Botox 1985.
Is that a burner account?
Well, I don't know, you tell me.
One good big guy. You did say to me, God, you're never 59.
Looking good.
That's because you're 63. But anyway,
okay, Gordon.
Botox 1985. Well done. You're the winner of the second half teaser, Victor Wanyama. What a story! What a story!
My mate's actually at the game, so I messaged him and said, did he deserve to be put off? And he was like, yeah. He said he slipped, like you said, Gordon pushed the ball with his hand. Yeah. I said, was he moving around the pitch well? He said,
See, to be honest on that, there is actually a bit of bad luck about that. I think if you go down and it's kind of instinctive, you grab the ball. Incredible, just incredible.
Well, 19 minutes. The fuss that has been made about Victor Wanyama, the television coverage, the newspaper headlines, the radio coverage. 19 minutes.
And what did he do? He signed with 7 games to go, and will he miss the next 2 now for that red card? Wow. At least he'll be fit by the time he comes back. Bit of training.
That's incredible. That is incredible. Victor Wanyama sent off. Cannot believe that.
We were Lenny's partner at paddleball next week.
Oh man.
I bet the two of them get in the dressing room, sit down, look at each other and go,
What are we doing here?
Last time I saw you, we were winning something. Oh man,
their careers have really gone downhill.
Don't laugh, you'll cry.
Couple of changes for Aberdeen, but they're just seeing this one out. Davag and Milne on. Goal scorer Kevin Nisbet off along with Ockles. So 3-1 to Aberdeen. Motherwell have done okay in the second half, but the game was probably beyond them anyway, and Aberdeen will win that one. Motherwell's race for the top 6 takes a big dent.
They go. Is it Kilmarnock they go next week? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think Motherwell do play Kilmarnock. Yeah.
Well, you'd look forward to that.
They've got Hearts in the final game at Fir Park. But it was an opportunity, especially when you really fancy Celtic to win it today, and you take the lead at Pittodrie.
Yeah.
Great opportunity, but well done to Aberdeen. Show a bit of character and come back in.
If you're Derek McInnes, you're thinking next week Motherwell could be a bit of a problem, and the week after that Celtic away.
Although to be fair, Motherwell go into it on a defeat. You know, it's not like they're in good form.
No, I totally agree.
You know, we were leaning into the Kilmarnock crisis here, understandably, but it's not like, you know, if Motherwell had won comfortably today, then
I wouldn't be fully confident Motherwell going to Rugby Park. Yes, I totally agree with that, Gordon. I was more confident in them going up to Pittodrie and maybe sneaking a draw,
especially after this.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Got another goal at Pittodrie, and it is an absolute stunner. Now, a bit of confusion here because maybe Kevin Nisbet's sub hasn't quite gone through yet. It was going to, I think it's him that scored, so that'd be quite something if he scored after going off the pitch. But no, he's still on, and he has thundered one in off the underside of the bar. I said Leighton Clarkson's goal earlier was good. This might be even better. Absolutely stunning from Kevin Nisbet, and it's Aberdeen 4, Motherwell 1.
He's finding a bit of form, is he not? It's amazing because seeing you're a centre forward, you just need that goal, and then you kick on from there. You wait for the next game, you're confident, you're taking things on. He come in for a lot of criticism from the Aberdeen supporters, gets his call up to Scotland squad as well. So yeah, good player and knows the back of the net, and he's certainly doing that.
Yeah, I think he just needed the fitness, didn't he? Like you said, he came in on loan, obviously, and he just wasn't fit. And listen, Aberdeen fans wanted to see the best Kevin Nisbet straight away. It doesn't happen. He said forward players, it's all about confidence for them as well. And listen, he's going from strength to strength now.
Well, I did say we wouldn't have many goals in the
you were right. You were right.
I'm not going to stick by that prediction, Shug.
17 goals so far in our featured matches.
I looked at the fixtures, and at 3 o'clock I'm thinking they're very difficult fixtures, but obviously not for St Mirren, Aberdeen, Celtic.
Is there a slight bubble bursting element to this Motherwell result, Gordon? Ibrox was really good. If you're being completely honest, The rest has been okay at times. It's been good at times, but it's never got anywhere near Ibrox. And now you add this into the mix.
Everything went for him at Ibrox, and it was a great result, and the confidence was high. He's just got to get to the end of the season, bring in his own players. He's obviously got a different way of working, different style. We speak to Andy how he goes about his business. He just needs time to put that over to the players.
Full time at Celtic Park, Gabriel.
Full time, and it's Celtic 3, Hearts 0. Dyson made us centre champions, 16 points clear at the top of the league with just 7 games to play. 2 goals for the forward and a big hand in the other one takes him to 30 for the season. Gordon, most of the action was in the first half. It was actually Hearts who started the stronger of the two, but they couldn't capitalise despite a couple of decent chances for Lewis Nielsen and James Wilson. But the game was opened after 17 minutes. A typical striker's goal. Callum McGregor, the captain, back in the team. A brilliant pass in behind the Hearts defence. Maida was always going to win the race against the defender and slipped it past Craig Gordon. A few minutes later, Nicholas Kuhn cut inside from the right, lofted a ball over the back line. Maida was in behind again. His header was against the post, but Jota was there to smash the ball home into an empty net. And then Maida got his second just before the break. Kuhn again driving down the right all the way. Lovely ball across to Maida, who couldn't miss from a couple of yards out. The whole stadium here singing his name. It was easy street after the interval. Celtic keeping the ball with ease, and they look ready to sprint over the finish line here with just a couple of months of the season remaining. For Hearts, they stay sixth, but they have St Mirren and Motherwell breathing down their necks. Just 2 games to go before the split. And for Celtic, Maida looks good for a clean sweep of the Player of the Season awards. Celtic look good for a clean sweep of the domestic trophies. 9 games to go for a treble for them. Full time here. Celtic 3, Hearts 0.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's now 3-0 to Ayr. Ethan Walker makes it a miserable afternoon for Neil Lennon, and of course Victor Wanyama sent off. So Ayr United 3, Dunfermline 0. I think we do have a Hibs penalty, but we've got full-time Pittodrie. Dave Galloway.
Full-time Aberdeen 4, Motherwell 1. It was a good start by Aberdeen. Ockles fizzed in a cross and Keskinen's shot rippled the side netting, but Motherwell went ahead on 5 minutes. Payton's cross from the left headed in off the underside of the bar by Slattery. The hosts equalised after 13 minutes following a corner kick. The ball was laid back to Dorrington, who lashed home via a deflection. Balcom came to the visitors' rescue, turning Nisbet's pile driver from the edge of the box behind for a corner kick. The Dons dominating play, putting some good attacking moves together, but a lunge by Gay on Halliday earned a yellow card. Should it have been a red though? Certainly some Motherwell players were claiming he should have walked. Aberdeen deservedly went 2-1 up after 37 minutes. A magnificent curling shot by Clarkson from the edge of the box. It all started with a very well worked corner kick routine, some lovely passing, setting up the opening for Clarkson to score in spectacular style. Motherwell with a really positive start to the second half, it has to be said. Halliday's corner missed by Doon, but there were no takers, and a brilliant through ball. They set up Sparrow, but he drove just wide. Then Sparrow's cross from the right hand side. It was a really tempting one. It just needed a touch, but Armstrong at full stretch couldn't quite get that vital touch to the ball. It was a much more competitive second half for sure, but it was 3-1 Aberdeen on 77 minutes. A fantastic cross from Jensen, headed in by the unmarked Nisbet, who had drifted into space. Then after 92 minutes, a brilliant goal by Nisbet, his second and the Dons' fourth, thumping in off the underside of the bar. So Aberdeen have guaranteed their place in the top 6. They're taking deserved applause from this capacity crowd. It's finished here at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 4, Motherwell 1.
We've got a full-time. I've got another goal for Hibs, but Fraser can tell you in his full-time report. Let's go to Roger Hanna. What a story. It was always going to be a big day in the Championship. We couldn't have quite imagined this.
What a story indeed, Gordon. Ayr United 3, Dunfermline Athletic 0. Ayr United are guaranteed a place in the Championship promotion playoffs and the Pars are guaranteed a place in that relegation battle. Let me tell you, it was billed as Scott Brown versus Neil Lennon with a bit of Victor Wanyama thrown in. It finished with a victory for Brown, a booking for Lennon, and an astonishing red card for Wanyama. He came on after 64 minutes. He lasted less than 20 minutes. He was caught in possession just outside his own box, and as Mark McKenzie tried to go in and goal, Wanyama hit the deck, McKenzie hit the deck. We think Wanyama may have been sent off for actually holding the ball with a hand on the ground. Referee Ian Snedden took a long time to make the decision. He consulted the far side linesman who had a decent view of it, and he flashed a straight red card at the Kenyan international midfielder on his Dunfermline debut. It was almost the final insult for the Pars. They fell behind in 43 minutes after a bright start, it has to be said. Conor McLennan smashing home a deflected shot from just outside the box for the opening goal. It was 2-0 in 68 minutes, a calamity for the Pars skipper Kyle Benedict. He said the ball inside his own box under no pressure at all, and he inexplicably passed it straight inside to Jamie Murphy, who lifted his simplest of finishes over Dunfermline goalkeeper Toby Oluwayemi for 2-0. Wanyama had just come on at that stage, but he lasted only until 84 minutes. He just had lost his bearings altogether just in the D in the edge of the box. He get caught with the ball between his feet. Ayr substitute McKenzie pinched it off him. They all hit the deck, and it was a free kick to Ayr and a red card for Wanyama. Ayr had the third deep into stoppage time. Captain Ben Dempsey freeing Dylan Watcher at the right. A nice ball into the near post, and Ethan Walker, who scored the equaliser deep into added time against Hamilton last week, come off the bench to get the clincher this time in 93 minutes. It's a big job for Neil Lennon with 6 games to go. He'll be without Victor Wanyama for some of them. Scott Brown looks to have Ayr purring again ahead of the run-in. Ayr United 3, Dunfermline Athletic 0.
Yes, some incredible stories across Scottish football today, and we certainly have got one of them in Paisley as well. Is that one finished? Yes, it is. David Friel.
Yeah, it's finished, Gordon. What a result for St Mirren. St Mirren 5, Kilmarnock 1 in Paisley. In the face of it, they've boosted their top six hopes. Emphatic win. Stephen Robinson's men produced one of the best performances of his reign. I think they'll feel that they can now chase down Hearts and Dundee United, but maybe the story is Kilmarnock. This was an embarrassing result for Kilmarnock and Derek McInnes, and they're in deep trouble at the bottom. This was a worrying performance. They absolutely collapsed in the second half. There was hardly any away fans left at the end, and most of them at the end did give pelters to their players, and no wonder. St Mirren had the wins in their back in the first half. They were 2-0 up within 9 minutes. Caelan Boyd-Munns claimed the opener 6 minutes. Low shot in at the bottom corner from 20 yards. 3 minutes later it was 2-0. Jonah Ayunga burst into the box. He was brought down by Lewis Mayo. Nick Walsh was on the spot, pointed to the spot. Didn't seem to be too much in it, but Roland Dodo didn't care. He took the penalty and sent Robbie McCrory the wrong way. Liam Polworth missed a sitter for Kelly before half time. That could have been a big moment, because the second half was about to get even worse for Kilmarnock. Richard Taylor should have made it 3-0. He had 2 chances from a couple of yards, missed both of them, and you wondered if that would come back to haunt St Mirren, but it didn't. Caelan Boyd-Munns pouncing a loose ball at the edge of the box. He made it 3-0 with a low finish. In 65 minutes it was 4-0. Mark O'Hara jinked into space at the edge of the box again. Nobody shut him down, buried a low shot in at the bottom corner. And then in 69 minutes, incredibly, it was 5-0. Jonah Ayunga, he was excellent all day, fed the overlapping Jekyll and John, and he also buried his finish beyond Robbie McCrory. Derek McInnes just didn't know what was happening at this stage. He looked absolutely bewildered. They did grab a consolation through Bruce Anderson's late penalty, but it was all too little too late. St Mirren were celebrating, but these are worrying times for Kelly. Full time, St Mirren 5, Kilmarnock 1.
And we're also finished at Easter Road. Here is Fraser Wishart.
Hibernian 3, St Johnstone 0. This comfortable 90 minutes, an easy 90 minutes as Hibs will have all season. All the damage done in the first half. Goals from Junior Hoylett and Martin Boyle, the difference. They could have been further ahead at that time. And a late Kieran Bowie penalty was just the icing on the cake. It was 1-0 in 18 minutes. Junior Hoylett cut in from the left hand side. We've seen it happen so often. He curled a right foot shot high into the top left hand corner. It was a brilliant finish by the winger. 28 minutes, 2-0. Martin Boyle first onto a loose ball, 1-1 with Andy Fisher. Cool low finish by the striker. He just rolled the ball low to the keeper's right into the back of the net. Could have been more. Kuharevich missed an absolute sitter volley from 6 yards over the bar when he should have gone with his head. St Johnstone at this point, no shots at goal in the first 45 minutes. It's difficult to see how St Johnstone would get back into the game. Stephen Valacari made 3 changes at half time, but the game just continued in the same pattern without Hibs' final product this time. 55 minutes, clever corner Hoylett flick set up Kuharevich. He struck his shot well and Fisher saved low to his feet. It was actually a good goal saved by the goalkeeper. 81 minutes, good move by Hibs, ended with clever play just inside the box by Sub Bowie. He dummied to play the pass wide, he created a space for himself, left foot shot it really well and pushed away by Fisher at full stretch. And then the big goalkeeper again saved, this time to his right at full stretch from Gale. And then stoppage time, 2 minutes into stoppage time, Hibs got a penalty. Kieran Bowie himself was fouled inside the box. He cut back inside by Balodis with Martin Boyle off. Bowie himself stepped up and just side-footed the ball to the goalkeeper's right. The goalkeeper dived to his left. Absolutely no chance. A stroll for Hibs, definitely in the top 6, in the driving seat for third place. It's a good day. You wouldn't have seen this coming when they were bottom of the table in November and December. But one to forget for St Johnstone, 90 minutes without a shot at goal at all. Says it all. Full time at Easter Road, Hibs 3, St Johnstone 0.
And now it's over to you. 0141 951 1025. How are you all feeling after that? Celtic fans, it was very straightforward in the end, wasn't it? So what impressed you? Maybe there were one or two things that didn't, because I know you've got high standards, but hard to grumble too much with a 3-0 win. So what did you make of the game? How much have you got left to compliment Dalziel Maeda, his 30th of the season? I take it he's a Player of the Year runaway. Is that new contract getting more and more important as the games pass? Let us know. What did you make of the game, Celtic fans? You'll be heading home now, so give us a call on 0141 951 1025. Kilmarnock fans, I would love to hear from you. A 5-1 defeat away to St Mirren. It leaves you in a pretty perilous position in the league. Where did it go wrong? How bad was it? How do you feel about the end of the season? How does this reflect on Derek McInnes? All of the usual questions you'd expect after a result that big. Come on, Kilmarnock fans, talk to us. 0141 951 1025. Motherwell fans, it promised so much. Cut price tickets, a big travelling support to Pittodrie. It didn't deliver very much, apart from, if you're of an Aberdeen persuasion, a 4-1 win for them. Anyone watch Victor Wanyama being sent off on his Dunfermline debut? I'd like to hear from you as well. And Rangers up at Dundee kicks off at 5:30, so get your calls in right now.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Marvin Bartley and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio, and it's that time on a Saturday where we take your calls. This is always the place to be on a Saturday evening to reflect on the day's football action, and what a day it has been. Celtic 3-0 win against Hearts. What did you make of it? You should be making your way out of the stadium now. What caught your eye? Dalziel Maeda tends to catch the eye every time he plays. He's been at it again today, up to 30 for the season. What do you make of him? Anything else that you might want to comment on, Celtic fans? Give us a call right now. Rangers fans, we are 20 minutes away from kick-off and there is no Václav Černý. He is injured. How big a blow is that? And is tonight going to be the start of a run of these domestic games against the so-called lesser opposition? Because you've proven, Barry Ferguson's proven he can beat Celtic. He's proven he can win in Europe, as his predecessor did. But what about these games? Can Rangers really go on a run? Do you fancy it tonight? Kilmarnock fans, there is no way a 5-1 defeat to St Mirren is allowed to pass without you coming on here and telling us what you're thinking tonight. So please, 0141 951 1025. Where did that go wrong? How bad was that? How fearful are you about relegation or the playoffs? And how does this all reflect on Derek McInnes? So much happening, Hugh, and we've not even advertised yet for calls. Please, if you witnessed Victor Wanyama being sent off 19 minutes into his Dunfermline debut.
Well, that's the novelty, but the serious issue is Kilmarnock and Tony Docherty at Dundee. Can he do something to inflict even further pain on his old pal Derek McInnes? It's been a very, very bad day for St Mirren. For Motherwell to lose 4-1, it's not the best. And those two troubled clubs, Motherwell and Kilmarnock, come together next weekend. But with regard to Dunfermline and Ayr, once you cut away from all of the razzmatazz, the Hollywood signing, the novelty of Bruni versus Lenny, it's a bad day for Dunfermline. They have lost badly. They have Livingston on Tuesday night at East End Park, and Livingston are going for promotion. It's difficult to see how Neil Lennon gets Dunfermline out of this mess.
Well, it gets even bigger, doesn't it, come that weekend as well, Hugh, because they're at home to Hamilton. So, yeah, the next 2 games for them are absolutely huge. Like you said, the midweek one against Livingston, but come next Saturday, that's a huge game for them, and one that they definitely need to be winning if Neil Lennon's going to turn this around. But listen, it's one game. He doesn't have a magic wand, as he said all week. Going to a really difficult Ayr team, another team that are fighting for promotion, or at least that second place to make it the playoffs slightly easier for themselves. But yeah, he won't be delighted at all with that. And now Victor Wanyama is also suspended for 1 or 2 games after the red card.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't the start he was looking for, I've got to say that. But it's got to be a difficult one for him. He's fortunate this afternoon Hamilton have lost as well, so it just keeps him in there as well. But you look into that Premier League, I thought there was got to be a lot of tight games this afternoon, but we get plagues of entertainment and bags of goals.
Get the calls in then. We're here until 6 o'clock, so come on. 01419511025. What did you make of your team's performance and result today? If you are a Celtic fan, you'll be pretty happy, I'd imagine. A very clinical, professional performance. A game wrapped up by half time. What more is left to say about Dyson Maida? That's your challenge. Tell us something we've not heard before, because he is just continually doing it. So give us your thoughts on him. Anything else that you saw that you want to comment on, please do. Kilmarnock fans, I'm going to keep saying it, we need to hear from you, because that was quite something today. 01419511025. I wonder how they're feeling, Gordon.
Kilmarnock fans will be feeling very angry, very disappointed, very upset. You know, it's always got to be a difficult game going to St Mirren. Could have went either way. I thought it was going to be a draw, I thought it was going to be tight, but Kilmarnock are in freefall now. They're losing too many goals. They're not playing with any confidence. Derek's had a go at them publicly, and it's not worked at all. So it'll be interesting to see what he says after the game and how he goes about fixing this problem.
A bit of a bloody nose for your Michael Wimmer, Motherwell. I think the fans had been flirting with getting excited, but
I think we all were.
Good.
No, and you couldn't ask for the best possible start. You know, going up to Pittodrie, getting the first goal. But when you get that first goal, especially away from home, you can't afford to lose a goal quickly after that. So yeah, it's been a disappointing one for Motherwell. We just have to see out the remainder of the season. I don't think we've got to make that top 6. I think there's too many difficult games, and then just hope that the manager can bring in his own players' non-style of football.
I know Motherwell got that really good result against Rangers, but I'm not too sure on them. I didn't ever really see them being a top 6 contender or actually being in there. That's what I said before the show. I expected Aberdeen to beat them. There's some good players within there, definitely, but in terms of a top 6 team, I just don't see it within them.
Come on then, Joe's on the line first up. How are you, Joe?
I'm okay. How you doing?
Good. What are you thinking?
Well, just a couple of things. The first one, I want to talk to the top tipster in Britain, Mr. Hugh Keevins.
How are you, Joe?
I'd just like to say, Hugh, thanks again. I won some money today again. After you saying Celtic will struggle a bit against Hearts and Rangers will beat Dundee easy. So I'll tell you what I've done here. I bet Celtic to win 3, 4 or 5-0 today, and I bet Dundee to win 1 or 2-0. So what do you think of my chances, Hugh? Please tell me I've no chance.
I think you've got a great chance with the Celtic one.
That's already up, Hugh. That's already paid out, pal.
So it is.
And no, you've got no chance with the Dundee one.
That's good then. That means I'm going back to the bookies to get a double up, Hugh.
And if you don't get a double up, I know that you'll come on next week and say you were right, Hugh.
Because to be fair, listen, like, we love your predictions dearly, but even if Celtic did struggle against Rangers and so on, they don't really drop points at home, do they? I was wondering where your kind of confidence was in that. I think only Aberdeen have taken anything this season there, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. No, I put my faith in Cabangu and Wilson. I'd have been better putting my faith in DL and Bartley. So it was a completely erroneous prediction, as Joe would say. Totally erroneous.
And before someone corrects me, I know Rangers took points there last time, but I meant out with those. How would you describe it today, Joe? Straightforward, was it?
I think it was okay, Gordon, to be honest with you. I was quite impressed with the goalkeeper. I know he never had that much to do, but he looks quite confident. I've not seen much of him, to be honest with you, but I was quite surprised how he looked. He looked pretty confident. I think he done okay. It's good to get the result after what happened in Old Firm game. But as I say, I couldn't believe you coming away with a statement like that, to be honest with you. I don't know what sort of crystal ball has got, but obviously.
Joe, you know, Scottish football, you didn't see Rangers winning 3-2 either. You know, these things happen.
Joe, there's a big difference with Rangers and Hearts. Come on, that's an Old Firm game. Anything can happen. You should be old enough, wise enough, and honest enough to say anything can happen in an Old Firm game.
I've always said that the Old Firm game is a separate life form. That's my phrase to cover the Old Firm game. But Joe, keep yourself all right. I mean, it's only a wee prediction. I predicted a draw. I didn't predict you to get relegated.
No, I'm quite happy saying Joe, because I'm winning some money. I don't normally bet, but your predictions are obviously.
You're the unhappiest happy man I've ever come across.
Please gamble responsibly. Joe mentions the goalkeeper keeps a clean sheet, to state the obvious. I think was involved enough with the ball at his feet and so on. Gordon actually maybe wasn't helped out by some risky passes back to him at times, but he'll be happy with that, won't he?
Yeah, of course he will be. It's all about, for goalkeepers, getting out there, keeping a clean sheet, working your way into the team. It was a big opportunity this afternoon for him. Listen to Gab's half-time report. Apparently he had a very, very good save. So that'll do him the world of good. He'll be delighted to get 90 minutes in the Premier League under his belt at least. And as you quite rightly said, goalkeepers in back four or back five, whatever it may be, always pride themselves in clean sheets. So it's been a good afternoon for him.
Yeah, definitely a good afternoon. And as you said there, Gordon, a couple of back passes where you had to be quite alert. And I said it before the game, it's about concentration when you're in goal for Celtic, because you're not going to be troubled that much. But when you are asked to do something, you need to do it and do it cleanly. And he did that today. I think they had 2 shots on target. Only one of them really. It was a good save from him. But we're delighted. Listen, he's no novice. I think he played 50 odd games for Exeter last season. So Celtic clearly saw something within him to bring him up. He'd been given his opportunity, and as Joe says there, he looked composed, he looked the part, and that's half of the battle. So yeah, a clean sheet for him is absolutely fantastic, and he want to kick on from here now.
Is this quite like, Joe, some of the other games that Celtic have had this season where they're just so clinical and they've got so much efficiency at the top end of the pitch that you don't really need to even be at your best, and you don't even need the other team to be that far off it to be 3-0 up and have a game out of sight by half time?
Oh yeah, I think you're totally right, Gordon, what you're saying, and Marvin, that's totally right, and Gordon obviously. But when you've got a guy like Maheda up there, it's just, the guy's a magician. He just seems to, since Kyogo's went away, he just seems to, just shine. I think every time he gets the ball in any of the box, the guy's amazing. He's amazing. I would say, he's the best since I've seen up to Henrik Larsson. There you go, that's what I think.
Wow, we said that about Kyogo.
I'll tell you, it must sit there, right? If you're Adam Ida, you've watched Kyogo go away, you think, this is my opportunity, I'm going to get a run of games. Maida goes through the middle, and he's absolutely dynamite. He's brilliant. 30 goals this season, and still going. He's still got plenty more to do. He's such a big player for Celtic.
I'll just say, having said that, Maeda is the most exciting, the most entertaining, and the most productive player at Celtic Park. Henrik Larsson was there for 7 years.
No, since. Joe saying since.
Well, to mention him in the same breath as Henrik is premature.
No, but I'm not saying I agree, but somebody needs to be the best since. So he's not comparing him to Henrik Larsson at all in any way. He's saying he's the best since that. It might not be right. It might be Edouard, it might be Kyogo, it might be Dembele, but somebody needs to be the best since. Mark Wilson could be the best since.
I think the argument this season, especially second half of the season, and going through the middle. Now I know you can argue he was dangerous in the wide areas, he scored goals, he was a real threat, but going through the middle, he just looks like a completely different football player.
Marvin, we always knew how important he was with the press and so on, but if we're all being honest, did anyone consider him a 30 goal a season striker? Say 30 goal a season. We're not out of March.
Yeah, he could honestly hit 40 goals this season with the games they've got coming up. If they get to obviously the cup final as well, is it 9 more they'll have left? So yeah, listen, Gordon, to answer your question, I think no. Out on the left hand side, we were speaking about his runs in behind and everything else. But seeing him up front and doing what he's doing, so efficient in terms of the chances as well.
That was my thought at full time, that potentially Celtic Hearts is the Scottish Cup final. Celtic have got St Johnstone in the semi-final, which, let's be honest, is a walkover, and you could see Hearts being in the final, and Dalziel Maeda will just be part of the problem for Hearts, because if that is to be the Scottish Cup final and the treble are decided already, then
defenders were having nightmares about him as well, because his running power to go in behind, and he can do it continuously as well. It's a massive, massive problem. You've got people like Callum McGregor finding him with the passes that he found him with today as well. He's a real striker that's, as I said, in full flow right now, and it'd be really hard to stop.
Thank you to Joe, Hugh Keevins' best friend out there down in Scunthorpe. 101419511025. Keep those calls coming. Celtic fans, do you agree with Joe? He's praising the goalkeeper. How can you not praise Dalziel Maeda? Anything else jump out today? Kilmarnock fans, come on, you can't get away with it. We need to know where it went wrong, how bad it was, how you feel about the league table, how you feel about Derek McInnes, all the rest of it. Give us a call please, and we'll do kick-off at Dens Park when we return.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard's open line.
Marvin, Bartley, Gordon DL and Hugh Keevins are here. They're waiting for your calls on today's results, performances, talking points. I still wonder if we can track down an eyewitness who was there to see Victor Wanyama not only make his Dunfermline debut, but get sent off 19 minutes later. Dalziel Maeda, anything else jump out today, Celtic fans? No Václav Černý for Rangers. We're going to get to that in a second. Kilmarnock fans, what is happening? Let's go to Dens Park then, because Andrew McLean is there. Dundee against Rangers in about 4.5 minutes to be precise. Andrew?
Yeah, we're getting all seasons at once here at Dens Park. The sun is shining down on the turf, but it's windy. There's rain swirling about the place as well. The Rangers fans, the travelling Rangers support over to my left in full voice at the moment, and for both teams it'll have been an enjoyable international break, because it always is when you go into it with a derby win. Still a few question marks generally for both teams though. For Rangers, it's whether they can step up in these sort of bread and butter games against the likes of Dundee. Can they dominate teams that are below them in the league, create lots of chances? That's what these supporters want to see. No promises on that from Barry Ferguson. He wants those 3 points, but admits it might have to get ugly at times. He needs his players to show a nastier side. He says that they've been too nice at times over the past couple of years. Will it be one of those games where they really need to dig in today? What Dundee need to prove is whether they can get themselves a bit further away from that automatic relegation place. Only 4 points ahead of St Johnstone. That derby win was good, but it was their first win in 9 league matches. One change for them today from that win, that 4-2 win against Dundee United. Lyle Cameron, who of course has signed a pre-contract to join Rangers in the summer, he drops out with an injury. It's Finn Robertson that comes in, so Trevor Carson in goal for them today. Jordan McGee, Joe Shaughnessy, Aaron Donnelly and Ziad Larkesh at the back. Josh Mulligan, Mo Silla and Finn Robertson in midfield, with Scott Tiffany and Sean Adewumi out wide. Simon Murray leading the line for Tony Docherty's side. The substitutes: McCracken, Astley, Riley, Sharp, Samuels, Cometio, Ingram, Garza and Lopez. Just the one change for Rangers as well. Václav Černý drops out the squad altogether. That's a hamstring injury that he picked up on international duty. Barry Ferguson speaking before the game, saying that he may be a doubt for next week. And I think the first thing that Rangers fans will think at that point, well, what about the 10th of April, that big Bilbao game at home in the quarter-finals of the Europa League? Will Václav Černý be fit or not? We'll wait and see on that one. Hamza Igaman comes in. Something else that Barry Ferguson said before this game is that it's a real opportunity for him. He says the striker should be on a high after scoring that winning goal at Celtic Park, should be on a high after getting a Morocco call-up during the international break. But can he come in and really make his mark in this game and show that he deserves a regular starting place? It's Jack Butland in goal for Rangers. You look at the back five that they've been deploying over the past few games. Interest on that right side. Will it be James Tavernier as the right wing back, with Dujon Sterling as the right centre back, alongside John Suter and Leon Balogun? Ridvan Yilmaz down at the left. Mohamed Diamande, Conor Barron and Nico Raskin are the midfield three. Hamza Igaman up top alongside Cyril Dessers, who makes his 100th Rangers appearance today. He's got 44 goals to show for it. He's had plenty of downs, you'd say, in a Rangers jersey. He's plenty of ups as well. Can he mark his 100th appearance for the club with a goal? The substitutes for Rangers today: Kelly, Proper, Cortez, Lawrence, Barami, Jeffrey, Hadji, Rice and Danilo. The referee that is currently leading the teams out is David Dickinson. The VAR for this one is Andrew Dallas. And as the players make their way onto the pitch, Barry Ferguson is pleased with the progress that his team are making. He made it clear though during the week that a win against Celtic and getting into the last 8 of the Europa League, that doesn't mean everything is fixed at Ibrox. He's pushing for more from his team. He's trying to instill that change of attitude. Jack Butland saying in his pre-match media duties that some of the players have maybe been taken aback by some of the hairdryer treatment they've got from the new manager. He wants to push those high standards and show the right attitude, and winning games like this is a way of showing that he's doing that. He's been quite measured in his praise of some players as well. You just look at Nicholas Raskin, who went away in the international break impressed in that game against Ukraine for Belgium. Barry Ferguson thinks he can go right to the top, but says he still has a lot to learn, and I think that's a theme for all the players. He wants to make sure that these players have their feet on the ground, that they can keep on learning and keep on progressing. Speaking of standards, Tony Docherty says that 4-2 win for Dundee over the rivals, that set the standard for what he wants to see for the rest of the season. Can they push themselves further away from St Johnstone? Can they try and get ahead of Kilmarnock, who had a disastrous day against St Mirren today? Can they match the type of performance they got at Tannadice a couple of weeks ago against this Rangers side today? The team's just shaking hands with each other, with the referees. Dundee in their normal blue home kit, Rangers in their white shirts with the blue shorts, and we are close to getting underway at Dens Park.
Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get your essential medicines and vaccines before you head off on holiday.
Come on then, worst tipster in Britain according to Joan Scunthorpe. There's a chance to redeem yourself.
Yep. Dundee 0, Rangers 3.
I thought he was going to go more. I was sure he was going to go more.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'll change it, but I'll go Rangers 4, Dundee 0.
3-1 Rangers.
There we go, getting underway. Looks like a lovely day in Dundee. Don't know what's happening. It's not so bright.
How about how quickly time passes? Cyril Desser's 100th game for Rangers today.
Incredible, isn't it?
It really is. He's playing so many competitions and go far in Europe, and all of a sudden they rack up. Because you're right, that you would find that hard to believe, wouldn't you? But then I suppose,
how many goals has he got here in those 100 games? Do you know?
40, I think.
Not bad, is it?
Yeah, that's a good return.
For someone that always people online saying he's not very good.
44 it is actually.
44. Yes. There you go.
I'm sure it'll be more than that after today's game as well.
Oh, is he scoring today, is he?
For sure. I'm going Dessa's going to get 2. Ingerman's going to get 1. There you go.
I see, I've given you a hint. Tip Celtic to draw.
There was a very unforgiving stats graphic that Sky showed. I don't know, we probably can't blame your partner Marvin. She reads them out. Someone else will come up with it, I'd imagine. But I thought it was quite damning for Dundee. I don't know if you caught it when it was on the screen there. So goals conceded 63, which is the worst in the league. Expected goals against 54, worst in the league. Clean sheets, they've only kept 1, worst in the league. Shots faced 486, worst in the league. And you know what's coming next. Errors leading to goals 9, worst in the league.
Joan Scunthorpe doesn't want to hear this.
They're flying, by the way.
Second worst in the league as well, position wise.
Well, there you go, that's the most important
stat
of them
thing,
all. But I'll tell you what, they've got a chance to open the scoring, and I thought they had, but it's cleared away just in front of Jack Butland. It was Adewumi who was down the right. Simon Murray joined in, and there was a bit of space there. It maybe could have taken on a shot. I think he just tried to find, is it Mulligan or someone arriving, cut out just before it got to Jack Butland.
Yeah, Yilmaz gets caught up the pitch, and obviously they got a little rub of the green down the right hand side, and it's a good ball in. To be fair to Dundee, they've got people in the box. It's a good defensive block from, is it Suter?
Suter gets it clearing. But to be fair, they got to get players in the box. If you can't defend, you need to score a fair amount of goals with that defensive record that they do have. But Tavernier looks like he started right wing back as well from the start of the game, and Sterling's gone in at centre half.
Yeah,
spoke about it, didn't we?
Yeah, come up in the graphic. There's a
goal. We've got a goal already.
There's my
3-1 with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dundee 1, Rangers 0. They might have the worst stats in the league that we just read out, but that is a blistering start. And one man who's not struggled for numbers is Simon Murray. It's a brilliant finish, improvisation from the corner. He directs it, wraps his leg around it, directs it into the top corner, and that takes him on to 13 league goals for the season. Dundee lead Rangers by a goal to 0.
What about Marvin Bartley saying it be 4-0?
4-1 I should have gone for, shouldn't I?
I've got to say, boys, that is a brilliant finish. Tavernier defensively is poor, but take nothing away from Simon Murray.
Do you think that's poor defensively?
Yeah,
I don't see from a defensive point of view, and it's an outswinger. there's only so much you can do. That ball was going to, for me, Simon Murray's foot no matter what. That finish is unbelievable.
I think your defender gets out muscled there.
Yeah.
Look, I'm taking nothing away from Simon Murray. I think that is a brilliant finish. But he's strong. I think if you're looking at your own team, your defenders, you've got to be stronger in the box, surely.
Joe's up at Scunthorpe Cross now, going round and
Cashing
round.
in.
Oh yeah, Joe will be back on. I forgot about Joe. But that's a worst possible start for Rangers, you've got to say.
Yeah, so it's a poor start, and they just played the ball out of the pitch as well. Raskin has there, so yeah, they need to wake themselves up. Listen, if you're going to concede a goal in any game, you rather concede it early, give yourself maximum time to get back into it. But yeah, not the greatest of starts.
You can't believe he's stealing my catchphrases.
He's never been in here before.
What's
on
that?
Saturday.
Is that what you say?
Gordon says it and we ridicule him for it, and you've said it in all seriousness.
It's still my catchphrase. If you're going to lose a goal, lose it early.
You're right, big man. Been learning from you.
Bring back Mark Wilson. Oh my goodness, quoting Gordon Dalziel. Yilmaz just slices across high over the bar. See when they put their arms out when they do that, it looked like he was blaming someone else, but he can't possibly have been
blaming the wind. It looks extremely windy there, Gordon.
It does, yeah. To be fair, that looks very windy. Right, we had a brilliant start there for Dundee. Pretty poor start for Rangers. I'll tell you who had a bad start, bad middle, bad end pretty much was Kilmarnock today. And Sam is a Killie fan. How bad are we talking, Sam?
Really bad. Really, I'm sorry guys, but I know you all like Derek, but he's got to go. He's got to go.
Oh, listen, like, that's what we're here for. How anyone feels about Derek McInnes is probably incidental. Are we seriously at that stage? Yeah, you know, because I know obviously emotions will be high after a day like today.
This isn't just a day, mate. This has been coming for the start of the season. He never built on last season's success. He's tried to go with the same again, and it's not working. It's just not working. He's playing players out of position. Bruce Anderson's been the top scorer. He's hardly getting a look in. And he brings in Corey and Daba. Okay, we had him last season on loan. The guy was brilliant. He brings him in, he buys him, and then he plays him out of position. And David Watson, I don't know what's happened to that boy, but look at Lennon Miller for your team, Gordon. That boy has kicked on, and he's going to get a big move. David Watson's went back to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, we spoke about him during the game actually as being a sort of maybe a symbol of how things have changed for Kilmarnock.
Yeah.
It shouldn't really. I know progress isn't always linear, but to go from Young Player of the Year to not always starting in a struggling Kilmarnock team either means that he hasn't kicked on or Derek McInnes is getting it wrong by not picking.
Listen,
him.
I'm not surprised Sam's Kilmarnock supporters come on and wants Derek out. I honestly don't think he'll be alone. If you're Derek McInnes and you've got the reputation you're supposed to have, you get the players that you've got at your disposal, you've been backed, and you're not producing, you've got to come under pressure. It doesn't matter what manager you are. And the Kilmarnock fans, Sam was saying there, he'll not be the only one. They're not happy with what they're seeing. They're lucky just now that St Johnstone are a poor side. They look like they're going to go automatically. But I'd be a bit concerned about that playoff position for Kilmarnock.
I'm glad that Sam has said, it's not just about today. Today is only a symptom of what's been going wrong all season long. So it's not a knee-jerk reaction. Sam is basing it on having watched his team all season long. And Derek, a seasoned professional, will know that criticism is inevitable and that concern is inevitable. So there's no point in saying it's mischief making or it's a witch hunt or whatever. It's there. It's been a gradual decline and it's now reached a place of some concern.
It's 1 point from a possible 15, I think, Sam. No away league win in October, is it? Where has this come from then? What's the difference?
Well, I'm going to go way back to beginning of the season, and we were over in Belgium, myself, my son, and I took my grandson who was 11, and the away support we took and the belief we had that we could have beat, we should have beat Cercle Bruges, but I could see the signs were there for the start. The goalkeeper for Rangers, in my opinion, isn't good enough to be a first choice Premier League goalkeeper. If he was, he would be in the Rangers first team, but now that's my opinion. He gave Marley Watkins, a 34-year-old striker, a 2-year contract. I mean, come on. But it's just, He's playing too many players out of position. Danny Armstrong isn't off the boil. The guy doesn't want to stay. He wants to leave. That's fine. That's up to him. But he consistently played him, and everybody could see he was off for him.
And do you know what? It's remarkable that, though, Sam speaking about Europe, it does sort of feel like they made a bad start and then just couldn't recover, which I don't know, is that an excuse? How can you use that? Every team's got a long season. You know, teams do start slowly and pick up. Other teams start well and fall off. That's the beauty of a league. But it does kind of look that way, doesn't it? It looks like the tone was just set, and then it never ever changed.
Yeah, I think they started badly, and during those games, Gordon, not only were they losing games or not picking up enough points, I think they lost their identity. I think that's the biggest thing that you can label at Kilmarnock now. This isn't a Kilmarnock of old, or a Derek McInnes Kilmarnock rather, who were hard working, who were well drilled, who everyone knew their jobs, and you know they used to be a difficult team for teams to play against. Now I think teams are rubbing their hands together when they come up to playing against Kilmarnock, especially when Kilmarnock are away from home. I've seen them play the 4-4-2 at times this season. I just don't think it works. You know, speaking about people like Watson and why is he not playing? I think he's been taken out of the firing line because the team is just struggling. I think he has been a shining light last season, 100%. I think at times this season he's not been too bad, but it's been one of them. He's just trying to get the experienced players in, and it's just not worked.
Well, he's taking his time speaking to his players. I know people always start putting two and two together and saying, does this mean he's been pulled in by the board or whatever? Quite unlikely, but he's not in his press conference yet, I don't think, Derek McInnes, so we can't hear from him quite yet. Sam, how much do you fear relegation playoffs?
Oh, big time, and I'll tell you what's made it even worse. Hugh Keevins said a few weeks ago, Kilmarnock will be safe, and that, for me, the alarm bell started ringing right away.
Listen, you're just ruining everybody's weekend.
Do you know what I was just about to say? But in years gone by, because he has a strong body of work, Derek McInnes as a manager, in years gone by he would have said, listen, they'll be okay, Derek will sort this out. But it's clearly this season it's not working out that way. But I'm delighted that I'm making everybody's day in this fashion.
Could your nerves handle Ayr in the playoffs, Sam?
Oh, well, they ain't bother.
I knew the bravado would kick in at some point. Thank you to Sam. At 9.5 gone, Dundee 1, Rangers 0. Bring us up to speed, Gordon.
I've got to say it's a lively game. Dundee have got off to the perfect start from the corner kick with Simon Murray's goal, and I think they're growing in confidence here. I really do. If there was another goal, I wouldn't be surprised if Dundee went 2-0 up. Rangers haven't really settled in. They're playing a lot of long balls, and it's just playing right into the hands of Dundee. They've got a spring in their step this afternoon, Dundee. Got to say that.
That left hand side as well for Rangers, Yilmaz and Balogun together, they don't look comfortable at all. Yilmaz at times is pushing forward, and Balogun should be swinging around, and he's not. There's been too many passes that are unforced errors just being played off the pitch, and Yilmaz, everything he tries to play forward, by the way, is either going behind the goal or going straight to a Dundee player. So yeah, it needs to really sharpen up as a team, but definitely down this left hand side as well.
Still plenty of time, Hugh, but this is not a good start this for Barry Ferguson.
No, it's like one of those games that at Kilmarnock, you remember he was 2 down very quickly, ought to have been 3 down. It has that kind of look about it, and they look minus Czerny, and I don't think it's all about Czerny. You know, this is not because Czerny's not playing, they've started to look ordinary, but they just look as if they're off the pace.
1-0 to Dundee, booking there though in the middle of the park, so we'll see how this pans out. We're going to return and hear from Neil Lennon talking about the officials and after Victor Wanyama was sent off on his Dunfermline debut. What is not to like about that as a topic?
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard's open line.
Lots of managers I'm keen to hear from. The big chance though for Rangers to equalise, and they've saved by Trevor Carson. Dundee 1, Rangers 0. 15 minutes gone, corner Rangers. We're going to hear hopefully from some more managers. We've got a lot to try and squeeze in because Brendan Rodgers had some interesting things to say. Eventually Derek McInnes has come into the press room following a 5-1 defeat at St Mirren. Let's hear from Neil Lennon. It was building up as one of the stories of the week. He's the Dunfermline boss. He signed Victor Wanyama, and he went to take on Scott Brown's Ayr United today. Lost, and Victor Wanyama was sent off 19 minutes after coming on.
He slipped, and his initial reaction is to reach out for it, but I thought with Jeremiah there, I didn't think the guy would have been clean through. So listen, I'm not happy with the referee. I got booked today for apparently contesting a decision where my player got flattened, and then the guy remonstrates with the referee and still didn't get a card. So very, very strange performance from him. And like I said, I felt we definitely should have had a penalty first half.
You didn't seem to take to the linesman either at that stage.
Well, there's no fourth official to have a go at, Rod, so he's the nearest one in my island, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to blame the referee for losing the game today, but I think some decisions went against us in big moments.
Well, you know, obviously the focus is always on Neil Lennon because he's the biggest name in the place. But it's serious time for him because he's got Livingston on Tuesday at East End Park, then he's got Hamilton, who are the team who pose the biggest threat to him. So he's got two major games to come. He won't have Victor Wanyama midweek. There's no point in crying over spilt milk. He did get sent off. You can contest it all you like, but he's out and he won't be able to help you on Tuesday. I just wonder if Neil Lennon has players of sufficient character to get them out of this. I just wonder if the players, can handle Neil Lennon and his intensity, because they have lacked character all season long, and that's why they are where they are. And I think Neil has got a heck of a job in his hands there.
Good thing, if you can call it that, Gordon, is they really just need to get the better of Hamilton Accies. I think the rest is now, you know, not really worth taking into account. Of course they could go beyond that, but Hamilton Accies are in a bad way as well, a really bad way. They've lost 3-0 at home today against Wraith. They're 2 points ahead of Dunfermline. Dunfermline have a game in hand.
Look, for his opening game, it was always got to be a very, very difficult one because they're up there. Obviously they're going for the playoffs. They've had a good season under Scott Brown. Neil would have learned a lot today from his players. You know, the reaction, watching them, because it's easy if you get that manager's bounce right away and you get fooled into thinking, oh, here we go, this is quite easy, the players are up for it, they're going to produce the goods. Neil will go away from Somerset and say, right, okay, I know what my job is. He's a very experienced manager. As I said earlier, great to see him back in it, but he will have learned a lot today from his players. And you're right, Gordon, they've only one team to go after, and that's Hamilton Accies.
Yeah, that's exactly what we'd be saying to his players. You know, it's been a difficult start with Ayr. It doesn't get any easier with Livingston, but come next Saturday they have to be bang at it, because between now and the end of the season they have to close that gap and eventually go past Hamilton. But Hugh makes a key point there when he says Neil Lennon is the biggest name there. He is, and he'll do extremely well because he protects his players away from all this kind of outside noise. He'll make it all about himself so they can just go on with their jobs, and he does it in a clever way as well, so they can just go out there, play their games of football, and as I said, hopefully they can go above Hamilton.
Still Dundee 1, Rangers 0. Long throw coming into the box. Donnelly has an absolute cannon for Dundee, and it does cause some uncertainty. Rangers eventually getting it clear, but Dundee enjoying another bit of territory here, and they are in, but it's a team header, it's spilled, and it's a second goal.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It may well be offside, but for now it's Dundee 2, Rangers 0, and Joe Shaughnessy is the man who somehow eventually bundles it over. If it stands, it's a terrible mistake from Jack Butland, who spilled a very easy header. In fact, who am I kidding? It wasn't fairly easy, it was very easy.
Defensively, Rangers.
I think Shaughnessy's going to be onside.
Well onside.
Oh, Simon Murray's
header,
not there.
yeah, Simon Murray.
Simon
Murray might be offside.
Yeah, might just be slightly ahead of the ball
because he gets the rebound.
Butland can't spill that though. Forgetting all that, the man to my left, Gordon, the man to my right, Hugh, they even take that in. They even catch that ball. I'm pretty sure of it. That's a massive error. And
but
if
it's
Butland gets away with that,
symptomatic of his season. Periodically, he's had these clangers all season long.
But Hugh, that's the basics. I mean, listen, you can go and watch the Sunday League game tomorrow morning. The goalkeeper's going to take that ball in. He'll get away with it if Simon Murray is offside and it's ruled out. But that is a massive mistake.
I think there is a fairly high chance Simon Murray is offside, but we'll wait and see. You know, they draw the lines, and that's the whole point. It's more accurate than us. Otherwise, they would just ask everyone to sit and look at the TV and make the assessment from there. So there's no issue on the initial ball, I can't imagine. I think the back foot of
Sterling wasn't it?
Very hard to tell, right? Let's be honest. That's why they're going to draw the lines, because you can't tell. Otherwise, you would watch it and not bother with the Hawkeye technology that we pay loads of money for. You would just pause your telly.
Let's go live to Scunthorpe.
Oh, by the way, it won't be too early for Jones 2-0 though.
I've got to say, they're defending Rangers just in this first 20 minutes. They've been all over the place.
But Butland's got to collect that, Gordon, regardless of all of that. I cannot believe that's bounced off his chest.
But you know something? The way Butland's been going this year, that doesn't surprise me. He's got a clanger in him nearly every game. He's not the goalkeeper he was the season before. He was absolutely brilliant when he came into Rangers. Dundee will be hoping they get the benefit.
It's a long check, as we suspected, because it is
really tight.
and that's why it's there, and it's so tough because there's not a chance the naked eye gets these things. And
is he given a goal?
Yes. Yes. No. Oh my goodness, it would help if the communication was a bit clearer on this. Joe Shaughnessy doesn't look too happy.
A goal, is he?
Yes, it stands Dundee 2, Rangers 0. Wow, Hugh Keevins. Yes, what a story we've got in our hands here.
Yeah, incredible. Rangers have been poor. Cyril Dessers on his 100th game should have made it 1-1, but had a Dessers moment where he doesn't take the chances he really ought to be able to take. And now Dundee 2 up, and it's strongly reminiscent of Barry Ferguson's first game at Kilmarnock, where he was 2 down and they fought back. That's what he has on his hands now. That's precisely the job he has on his hands now. Same as Kilmarnock away, 2 goals down, and Rangers have been poor as can be all game long so far.
Then I've got to say, Marvin and I were in agreement this afternoon. I didn't see this coming. I thought Rangers would have went up there. Dundee have conceded goals for fun. I thought Rangers went up there, especially the confidence after the Celtic game.
Easy for me to say.
Shambles just
easy
now.
For me to say, because I don't make the predictions, right? So I'm not going to be smart after the event. But when will everybody learn their lesson? This is what I can't quite understand with you all.
I've learned it. You've taught me. I've learned it today. I am a believer now in what you've been saying. No, I know, but I needed it to be this time.
The first time.
But a lot of talking's been done, Gordon. A lot of talking. Obviously, they went and beat Celtic and all the things that came after it. And then they put on a performance like this. And now I understand why Rangers fans just get so frustrated. But listen, Barry Ferguson and his coaching staff have got it all worked out for them now. They've got a big 20 minutes after this half. And then at half time, you can see he's trying to get his players going. But they look miles off it. They look lethargic. They don't look like they've got any game plan going forward. They look like Clermont Rangers all over again.
That Kilmarnock
like.
Day took off in Ciala, Hugh, who we've not seen too much of since, and there was a turnaround and they won it. So they might. Do you think they will? Because we're about to say goodbye. How do you see this finishing?
I don't think I have any right to give you an answer to that question.
Fair enough.
What I can say is a bad day for Kilmarnock is getting progressively worse, because Dundee will go above Kilmarnock if they hold on to this.
I'll make a prediction really, really quickly. Yilmaz does not see out this game 100%. The way
does he see out the first half?
Potentially not. There you go. Potentially not. I cannot believe the amount of times he kicked the ball behind the goal.
Okay, I'll go for a prediction. I think Rangers will get back in this game, get a draw.
What a day it's been. How would you sum it up so far, Hugh Keevins?
Incredible. Incredible result for Kilmarnock, losing 5 goals at St Mirren. Incredible. Celtic, really the only team, and Hibs as well, who did what they ought to do at home and showed their abilities. But it's been a strange old day. Neil Lennon, Victor Wanyama, they will get the headlines as well. I really do think that Neil Lennon has got a heck of a job on his hands, because I'm not sure his players have the temperament for this job of survival.
I always try and give you the last word. I feel like getting Joan Scunthorpe back on just to see how he is, but we're nearly there. We're almost finished.
He's away buying a yacht with his winnings.
And you have the GBX to look forward to. He's the man for a Saturday night. Whatever happens here, we will look back on it all Monday night from 6, and we'll see you then.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Luker's Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no obligation quotation.
What's on TV? The answer is a lot. There's never been more choice over what to put on the box with an abundance of great new shows, but you can miss them all if you don't know where to look. And that's where the Pilot TV podcast comes in, your essential guide to every show that matters. Each week we sift through the very best in prestige TV to help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what isn't. So join me, James Dyer, as well as venerable TV critics Boyd Hilton and Kay Ribeiro, and let us help take the stress out of your downtime. The Pilot TV podcast, because you can't watch everything.